Sophia Sawyer and Arthur Chase had been in love for 7 years. She didn't care about his money, she only cared about the love. But when Sophia found a cockroach basking in the sunlight, her love was completely extinguished. She wanted to cut her losses and part on good terms. He, however, lost all reason and entangled himself endlessly with her. To escape the turbulent waters of Arthur Chase, she accidentally hooked up with the business crocodile, Quentin Rutherford. She thought it was just an interlude. But who knew that beneath this interlude, Quentin's appearance would be like a derailment in Sophia's bland life. He deliberately approached and submitted to her, and she was willing to sink. Naples Bay is one of the 8 great gulfs of the world. The sea surface presents 2 colors. Due to density, the 2 bodies of water can never merge into one. When the tide washed over the Naples Reef for the 7th time, Sophia proposed a breakup to Arthur. On the night she decided to break up, Sophia scrolled through a trending topic. Why can't any love survive the 7-year itch? She looked at the distant sea horizon, dyed purplish blue by the twilight, and typed a reply. Because the trivialities of life and the suspicions within a relationship act like grains of salt eroding a reef year after year, hollowing out all affection. Loving you is like a crack hidden in the dark part of a shell. One never knows when it will shatter into sand. It was nearly midnight when Sophia pushed the door open. Lights were on in the entryway and the living room. Half a prescription note from Riverton Hospital lay on the shoe rack. The man was leaning against the sofa in the living room. Just as Sophia was about to speak, she glimpsed a table full of food and 2 deformed candles shaped like the number 28 on the coffee table out of the corner of her eye. Her throat felt as if a ball of cotton had been suddenly stuffed into it, choking her. Today was Arthur Chase's birthday. She had forgotten Arthur pushed himself up from the sofa. A few white pills fell rustling from the folds of his suit trousers. He paused in his motion to bend down and pick them up, eventually letting the pills roll under the coffee table. Sophia pressed her palm hard against the grooves of her keys, her voice hoarse. "I'm sorry." What?" Arthur looked at Sophia, who stood not far from the entryway in confusion. "Your birthday, I forgot." It wasn't that she was too busy with the script at hand to rush back, nor was there any other excuse to offer. She had simply, purely forgotten. Aside from her feelings, Sophia never hid anything in other aspects of her life. Arthur looked at her, nodding slightly with a faint smile. "It doesn't matter. It's not an important day anyway." Actually, every year on this day, he waited for the girl who would never be on time, but he would never wait for her again. The moment he turned off the main light in the living room, the afterimage of the 28 candles burned a hollow spot on his retina. Looking at the afterimage of the candles, Sophia actually wished Arthur would get angry. Even an argument would be better than this considerate understanding. But as of today, all they needed between them was a facade of peace. Sophia didn't want a messy ending and wanted to make a final amend. "Tomorrow No need," Arthur stood up, his brow filled with exhaustion. "I have to go back to Elmwood early tomorrow morning for the final defense." A month ago, Arthur's law firm took on a tricky case, and the entire office had been on a business trip in Elmwood for nearly a month. Presumably, he had squeezed out time to rush back today. Afraid of disturbing her scriptwriting, he hadn't even made a call or sent a message. Thinking of this, Sophia felt a bit more guilt in her heart. "Then I'll drive you to the station tomorrow morning." This time Arthur didn't refuse, only saying, "Okay." Sophia watched him walk toward the bedroom. When she withdrew her gaze, she saw the table full of food. She pursed her lips and called out to him, "Arthur." The man stopped and turned to look at her, a look of expectation in his eyes. Unfortunately, across the distance and in the dim light, Sophia didn't see it clearly then. The electronic clock on the wall had already passed midnight. Sophia parted her lips slightly. "Happy birthday." Arthur didn't rush to respond. He stood there quietly looking at her. In the long silence, only a tick-tock was heard. Her eyelashes trembled slightly, and a sharp, lingering pain suddenly surged in her heart. The year Sophia met Arthur for the first time, Naples Bay was churning with lead gray foam. The University Mystery Club gathered in the old auditorium of the Shell Museum. The salty sea breeze, wrapped in a damp, musty smell, diluted the scent of the analgesic patch on Sophia's leg. Sophia had been in a car accident not long ago and hadn't recovered yet, so she couldn't follow the club to the reef area by the sea for the live-action mystery game. She sat on an old sofa in the corner all day, helping to organize the clue cards for the activity. The cry of seagulls came from not far away, sounding a bit noisy. She just glanced up briefly, then lowered her head to play with her phone. Her club friend, Rachel Lane, popped up from somewhere. "What are you playing?" She spread her hands, revealing the game Escape the Manor on her screen. Rachel couldn't help but click her tongue. "You're playing this, you might as well come play the live-action mystery with me. It's so interesting." "I'm not going. My leg still hurts a bit." Sophia leaned back against the sofa. "I'll blow in the sea breeze here. I feel at peace." Rachel didn't force her. She sat with her for a while, hearing someone shout that a new clue had appeared, and hurriedly ran off again. Sophia's game was stuck at the last level. Seeing that decoding one more cipher machine would mean success, she involuntarily sat up straight, eyes glued to the phone screen, every calibration step in her hands taken with extreme caution. Just one last machine, just one progress left in the calibration. She pursed her lips, fully focused. The vague conversations and the sound of waves around her couldn't distract Sophia in the slightest. But that "excuse me, classmate," spoken neither too loud nor too soft, made her make a wrong move. One step wrong, every step wrong. The whole game was lost. Sophia looked up angrily at the culprit. "You," the boy stood in front of Sophia, wearing a white shirt and light blue jeans. His figure was tall and straight, his hair slightly messed up by the sea breeze. Under the gloomy sky, the boy's hearty laugh made Sophia's heart tremble violently, losing its rhythm. She was momentarily speechless. The boy didn't notice, smiled, and said to himself, "Classmate, can I borrow a prop card? I'll return it to you in a while." The young man before her carried a vigorous vitality. His smile made it hard to look away. At that moment, Sophia couldn't deny that she was an extremely superficial person. She was dazed for a few seconds until she heard the noise in the distance, waking as if from a dream, and pretended to be nonchalant. "Sure, get it from the box yourself." "Okay, thanks." The boy bent down to take a prop card from the box aside. His back formed a beautiful horizon arc, but that arc was fleeting. He waved the card in his hand at Sophia. "I'll return it to you guys later." Sophia nodded, watching the boy's figure walk away. After a while, Sophia suddenly got up and walked out, but on the vast beach, the boy was nowhere to be seen. She stood there as if everything that had just happened was an illusion. Rachel ran over from not far away. "You finally decided to come out for some air. I was afraid you'd get moldy in the corner." "It's not that exaggerated." Sophia withdrew her gaze and walked inside. Rachel followed. "Are you really not going to play with us?" "No, I have to wait for someone." "Wait for whom?" "Someone just borrowed our club's game card and said he'd return it later." Rachel laughed loudly. "And you actually believed him? It's just a card. If he took it, he took it." "Why would he really return it?" Sophia recalled the boy's appearance. Perhaps beauty misleads people. She was particularly serious. "He won't." That afternoon, Sophia didn't leave Naples Bay for a step, but she didn't wait for that boy until evening. Rachel laughed at her persistence and naivety. Sophia had nothing to refute. She stood by the sea, letting the sea breeze blow her hair, carrying a drizzling loneliness. The year Sophia saw Arthur for the second time. It was when she and Rachel went to the Academic Affairs office to submit defense materials. Climbing the stairs, she was only focused on talking to Rachel and accidentally went to the wrong floor, passing by the entrance of the law school. That day was truly a coincidence. Arthur happened to be sitting by the window, looking down wearing black headphones, his hand writing something quickly. Sophia didn't dare to linger. She withdrew her gaze after just one glance. The rest of the way was all spent guessing what was playing in his headphones and what thoughts he was writing down. Shortly after, Sophia bumped into him once in the library. It was already evening. Arthur came out of the library, talking and laughing with a few boys. Sophia walked ahead, deliberately slowing down, waiting for that moment of brushing past each other. The young man carried a vigorous vitality, mixed with the late spring breeze, making Sophia think the surrounding air was faintly stained with his temperature. She secretly rejoiced in this encounter, which seemed accidental, but was actually full of a young girl's countless little schemes. Sophia silently followed his figure, carefully stepping on his shadow, privately collecting countless trivial matters related to him. Every night, Sophia would neatly write those two words in the empty space of her scratch paper. Arthur Chase. She read it aloud in a low voice, with a hint of a smile in her tone. At that time, the evening breeze was wanton and flamboyant. 21-year-old Sophia did not yet understand. Between her and Arthur, it was just like that step she corrected wrongly in the game. One step wrong, every step wrong. It was a dead end from the very beginning. The last time she saw Arthur that year was graduation season. Sophia intentionally walked past the law school with fear and trepidation. Holding a trace of fantasy, she tried to find that familiar figure in the crowd. But walking distractedly comes at a price. Sophia was knocked down by a sudden force from behind, falling straight onto the fence at the corner. She had been in a car accident. Her leg had not only been fractured, but there was also a long, bone-deep scar on the outside of her calf. Sophia hugged her knee, cold sweat streaming down from the pain. The boy who knocked her down was at a loss. A girl who arrived later wanted to see where she was hurt. Carefully lifting the girl's long skirt, that shocking scar was exposed to everyone. There were quite a few gasps from the surroundings, but Sophia couldn't care less. Arthur squeezed in from the crowd and squatted in front of Sophia together with that girl. Sophia was afraid he would see that shocking scar and subconsciously wanted to escape. But Arthur didn't say anything. He just very gently lowered the hem of her skirt that had been rolled up. "We'll take you to the infirmary." The surrounding crowd dispersed, and Arthur gently carried Sophia on his back. On the way to the infirmary, Sophia learned that they were classmates of Arthur. The boy was named Harry Walker, and the girl was named Jane West. Harry kept apologizing. Sophia sat on the bed in the infirmary, recovering from the strongest burst of stinging pain, her voice a bit dry. "It's okay, I wasn't paying attention while walking myself." After the school doctor simply treated the wound, he instructed Sophia not to put force on her leg recently. The moment the instructions were finished, the three of them left the infirmary simultaneously. Sophia looked at the back of the departing youth, her eyes dim. From then on, Sophia had been waiting for a hug, waiting for a look back. But sometimes, some waiting is destined to be hopeless. In late September, the fine rain smashed sharply against the eaves. Arthur's class farewell dinner was scheduled for the 18th. Sophia would always remember that night. In the evening, Rachel, on leave from her internship, came to visit her. Sophia seemed to find an excuse and dragged her to the restaurant next door for dinner. Just after sitting down and playing a round of Escape the Manor, with tragic results, Rachel took off her headphones and asked, "Got something on your mind, playing like this?" She didn't dare to say, rubbing her obscure eyelids, "I'm going to buy a bottle of soda. What do you want to drink?" Rachel scratched her head. "Doesn't the restaurant have it?" Sophia curled her lips. "It's different." With that, Sophia got up and walked out. She didn't know what was wrong either. After buying a drink at the convenience store opposite the restaurant, she unprecedentedly wanted to get closer to the restaurant to take a look. Before Sophia reached the entrance of the restaurant, a sparse crowd of students came out. Presumably, the party was over. She stood in the dark, watching waves of people coming out. After a long time, she saw the familiar person. Arthur was holding a girl in his arms. There were sounds of frolicking and jeering all around. Sophia froze instantly. Arthur carried the girl out of the crowd, passing outside the convenience store. The girl was probably drunk, muttering continuously. When they were separated from Sophia by only a window, Jane West shouted, "In the future, I must become a lawyer." With Arthur responded in a low voice, a tenderness she had never heard. Okay, don't move around, be careful not to fall." By the light of the street lamp, Sophia saw a wave-patterned hair tie on Arthur's wrist. At that moment, the wind passing through the alley seemed to be mixed with the chill of the autumn rain. It wrapped her tightly, making her breathing rapid. Sophia stood messy in the wind for a long time, long enough for the tightly gripped drink to become unrecognizable, long enough for Rachel to come looking for her. "What are you doing here?" Sophia relaxed her grip, the drink spilling all over the ground, as if waking from a dream. She thought she could wait until the clouds parted to see the moon, but on the 18th, there was no moon at all. She finally understood this truth, took a deep breath, and held Rachel's arm as if to leave. "I didn't buy the water I wanted." "What?" "It was bought by someone else." Rachel gave her a meaningful look. "Then buy it from another store. It's different." Sophia felt a dull pain in her heart, rejoicing that the night covered it, not letting her emotions be exposed without reservation. If I didn't buy it, I didn't buy it. The noise from the roadside came from the restaurant. Sophia suddenly felt sad, her eyes filling with tears. She and Arthur were in different majors. She didn't even have the qualification to fight alongside him. From then on, what Sophia hated most in her life were boys like Arthur. But in this world, no one else would be Arthur. The one and only Arthur in the world turned the wanton and flamboyant Sophia into a timid coward. She was immersed in Arthur's sea, unable to move a single step. Wrong meant missed. From then on, a song, Naples Coastline, was played everywhere in the streets and alleys. Thousands of wishful thoughts have no meaning. Anyway, they are just passers-by from two different worlds. After the graduation season ended, Sophia never saw Arthur again. When she heard news again, Arthur and Jane went to the best law firm in Fairview. The autumn rain in Riverton was still long and continuous, burying the girls' unspoken, unrequited love. Unknowingly, Sophia walked to the entrance of the convenience store again. In a trance, it seemed she had returned to that autumn night. The boy carried the girl past here, only this time. Sophia didn't stand in place, but walked from the dark alley into the endless stream of people, walking in the opposite direction from them. Sophia kept walking forward in the rain, without looking back, until she walked out of her 21-year-old self that contained him. After graduating from university, Sophia stayed in Riverton for an internship at a media company. In her spare time, she prepared for the exam to become a screenwriter for Riverton TV station. On the day the results came out, Sophia ranked third in the city in the written test and was admitted as a screenwriter for Riverton TV station as she wished. But the jealous, two-faced people at the station found fault with her everywhere. Sophia didn't want to give anyone a handle against her, so she worked even harder, and her achievements became increasingly impressive. In those 3 years, which couldn't be considered mediocre, she rarely had time to think about Arthur. If it weren't for the blind date last time, Sophia even thought they would never have a chance to meet again in this lifetime. At 24, she reached the age suitable for marriage, but still had no partner. Martha Sawyer was anxious and looked for blind date candidates for her every few days. Sophia pushed one away, and there was another one. After a continuous autumn rain, Sophia finally compromised and agreed to meet a blind date. When Sophia arrived at the agreed seafood restaurant, she was damp all over. She adjusted her clothes in the mirror at the entrance, took a deep breath, and walked in. The autumn rain pattered, dripping along the eaves, straight into the heart that had been sealed for 3 years. Walking to the door of the private room, Sophia paced back and forth. Suddenly, a voice rang in her ear. "Miss Sawyer, aren't you coming in?" She looked back. In just a few seconds, she confirmed the identity of the visitor. Sophia looked at Arthur's cold profile. Her reaction was slow. The words she had wanted to say for 3 years seemed stuck in her throat, going neither up nor down. Arthur opened the door and smiled faintly. "Come in and sit first." Sophia finally recovered, lowered her eyelids to cover the emotions surging in her eyes. Her throat moved slightly before she swallowed a yes. The light in the private room was a bit dimmer. Sophia didn't refocus her gaze on the figure of the man opposite until she was seated. His appearance hadn't changed much. Shedding the boyishness of youth, his angles were clear and distinct, carrying a mature, masculine aura. Arthur lifted the teapot to fill the empty cup in front of Sophia. His sleeves were rolled up twice, but this time his wrist was empty. "Does Miss Sawyer have something on her mind?" Arthur put down the teapot and looked at Sophia with concern. "If it's inconvenient, I can understand. After all, this is a blind date." Sophia pursed her lips. "No, I'm just surprised that an elite like Mr. Chase would also come on a blind date." Arthur was very curious. "What kind am I?" Sophia was momentarily speechless. After a long silence, she said, "Anyway, you're not quite the same as the blind daters in my impression." Arthur laughed. "It seems Miss Sawyer has a high evaluation of me." Sophia didn't say anything more and took a sip of tea from the cup. It was an extremely harmonious blind date. Sophia and Arthur had superhuman tacit understanding in many aspects. Consistent tastes, similar interests, and even their favorite playlists overlapped. Returning home, Martha asked Sophia, "How was it?" Sophia felt as if a ball of cotton was stuck in her throat. She couldn't say a word for a long time. If it were anyone else, Sophia could casually say whether it was good or bad. But the person who came was Arthur. It was a beautiful dream she yearned for but couldn't reach in her youth. Seeing her in a daze, Martha pushed her arm. "Soph, I'm talking to you." Sophia suddenly came back to her senses. "I heard you." Martha wanted to ask more, but Sophia quickly interrupted. "Mom, I'm a bit sleepy. I'll go wash up and sleep first." "You child." Martha was angry. "Give me a word whether it was good or not. Otherwise, how can I answer to little Chase?" In the few steps from the living room to the bedroom door, Sophia suddenly had the answer. She turned back and said, "It was quite good." Martha beamed with joy, but Sophia felt that all this was just a dream from when she was 21. From then on, Sophia and Arthur met politely a few times, ate a few meals, and saw a few sights, but neither of them poked through that layer of window paper first. They treated each other with respect like guests until late autumn of the coming year. Sophia had originally agreed with Arthur to admire the sea at Naples Bay. On the day itself, Sophia had numerous scripts in hand and worked overtime until 2 a.m. without receiving a single message from Arthur. Sophia thought her ending with Arthur ended there, but she didn't expect it to be a new beginning. The day after the appointment, Sophia learned that Arthur had been sent to the emergency ICU last night. 3 inches stabbed into the left abdomen, an 18-centimeter knife mark on the wrist. She rushed to the hospital and was caught off guard meeting his parent. Mrs. Chase had heard of her long ago, only in Arthur's introduction. Their relationship still remained at the boundary of university classmates. Seeing the situation, Mrs. Chase stood up with a faint smile. "You talk. I'll go downstairs to buy a bowl of plain porridge." Sophia sat on the chair by the bed, staring closely at Arthur's forearm in a cast, hesitating to speak. "You." Arthur looked at her awkward appearance and spoke first. "Did you go to Naples last night?" She lowered her head, her eyes reddening. "No, it was almost 3 o'clock when I finished overtime." "That's good." Arthur smiled. "I didn't make you wait." The moment Sophia lowered her head, a clear tear fell to the ground, full of bitterness. But she had been waiting for him, waiting for 3 years. Sophia didn't dare to look at him, only staring at her reflection under her feet. "How did you get hurt?" "Lost the lawsuit, stabbed by the plaintiff." "Does Miss Sawyer want to write my heroic deeds into a script?" Sophia inexplicably said. "If this is written in, wouldn't it be on the trending list in minutes?" Arthur was silent for a few seconds, then suddenly laughed. He probably really found it funny. Sophia's knees touching the edge of the bed could feel the vibration of the bedboard. She looked at him and suddenly felt that this accident was not like an accident, but more like a small boat breaking the ice and docking. She was usually busy with work and only had time to visit Arthur in the hospital on fixed Saturdays. The day Arthur was discharged, a typhoon suddenly attacked Riverton with continuous rainstorms. Mrs. Chase came back after handling the discharge procedures. Seeing Arthur standing by the courtyard holding an umbrella, she muttered, "With such heavy rain, Sophia probably won't come." Arthur gripped the umbrella handle tightly, letting the cold wind mixed with ice rain smash against his face. He hesitated, deliberated, and finally said, "Let's wait a bit longer." That day was the heaviest autumn rain Riverton had ever seen in history. The hospital broadcast reported traffic accidents caused by the typhoon rain everywhere. Arthur sent messages and called Sophia, but no one answered. The patience of waiting in vain was gradually worn into panic of worry. At 11 o'clock at night, the wind and rain gradually subsided. The whole city looked like muddy chaos. Mrs. Chase opened the back door of the car. "Let's go." Arthur put away the black umbrella and glanced at the silent text message page. Half his body stepped in when hurried gasping sounded behind him. "Arthur," Sophia's muddy appearance fell unreservedly into Arthur's eyes. In that instant, Sophia seemed to see the boy from 3 years ago looking back with tears. Mrs. Chase exclaimed, "How did you get like this?" Sophia patted the mud stains on her body randomly and whispered, "Something happened on the road. There was a traffic jam and the roads were closed." Seeing this, Mrs. Chase said, "I'll go buy you 2 pieces of clothing. Don't catch a cold." Arthur took off his coat and handed it to Sophia. "What happened to your phone?" "Dropped in a puddle and washed away." Sophia wrapped the coat tightly, her voice trembling. "Are your discharge procedures done?" Arthur nodded and reached out to remove the dead leaf stuck to her hair. Sophia watched his movement, wanting to speak but saying nothing. Suddenly, Sophia's eyes went black and she fainted. Amidst the drowsiness, she vaguely heard Martha's voice talking to others, but her eyelids were heavy, and she couldn't open them no matter what. This sleep was long, so long that she had a dream. In the dream, she went back to university, didn't sit in the old auditorium of Naples, and didn't meet Arthur. She studied and lived according to plan, married a suitable person at a suitable age. Marriage and children, birth, old age, sickness, and death, a life plain and mediocre, without waves. Only fate turns around, always making people take detours and wrong paths, walking alone in the wet and muddy dark alley. When Sophia woke up in the morning, the curtains in the ward were not drawn, and it was so dim that only patchy shadows could be seen. She turned her head and saw Arthur sitting by the bed. His hand in a cast supported his head. It seemed he had been sitting for a long time, looking very exhausted. Sophia just wanted to turn over when he woke up. Arthur supported himself on the edge of the bed to get up, poured a glass of warm water, and handed it to her. "Drink some water, thanks." Sophia spoke, her throat still a bit hoarse. She felt much better after drinking water. Seeing her cup empty, Arthur asked again, "Want more?" "No need." Sophia reached out to put the cup down. Arthur also reached out to take it. When his hand touched hers, the temperature of their fingertips rose instantly. Sophia seemed to be scalded, her fingertips shrinking back. Arthur naturally took the cup and put it on the table, turning to look at her. Sophia also looked at him, looking at those affectionate phoenix eyes. Neither spoke first, just looking like this, as if to see through a lifetime of time. Unknown how long passed, the sound of a couple arguing came from far outside the window. Arthur spoke a sentence as the quarrel faded away. He said, "Sophia, I can't be considered excellent, but I'm not too bad. Do you want to consider being with me?" At that time, it began to drizzle with autumn rain outside the window. The boy liked in youth, looking back years later, is like a benign tumor. Growing in living cells, suppressed in hopelessness, like the pure and desireless joy in the youthful heart that cannot be expelled. At the age of 24, Sophia agreed to the confession that was 3 years late. When dating, Sophia's job was even less settled than Arthur's. Often reversing day and night, commuting times unstable, sometimes encountering emergencies on weekends meant going back to work overtime. In comparison, Arthur's time was much more plentiful. Basically, every date was him accommodating Sophia's schedule. Sometimes the date location was even the fast food restaurant downstairs from Sophia's company. She would finish eating with Arthur, cuddle a bit, and it would be over. This lifestyle continued for the two of them for 7 years. In the 7-year love marathon, Arthur had always been very good to Sophia. Saying he indulged her wouldn't be an exaggeration. Later, people around always liked to say, "Soph, you're 28. Dating for too long will become rough around the edges due to time." At that time, Sophia didn't understand the profound meaning of this sentence until the night of the breakup. Sophia finally found the answer. Probably the more you like something, the less you should touch it. If you don't touch it, it remains high above, always the most beautiful appearance in your heart. But if you insist on tainting it, with the passage of time and the friction of trivialities, it will instead erode its original beauty. You are already 7 weeks pregnant. Are you sure you don't want it? Sure. Sophia resolutely signed her name on the surgery form. An hour later, the abortion was done. Sophia walked out of the hospital with a pale face. The doctor's words still echoed in her ears. What a pity it was a boy. She had no emotions because she had already cried what needed to be cried a week ago. Now only dryness remained in her eyes. Thinking about it now, not letting the child be born could be considered a kind of kindness. Returning home, Sophia didn't work overtime writing scripts as usual, but scrolled through her feed. Jane West had publicly posted a 9-grid photo collage not long ago. Caption: "Finally achieved a positive result with the boy I've liked for 11 years." Sophia clicked on the pictures one by one. Inside were all chat records between Arthur and Jane West and various intimate photos. Jane asked Arthur, "Why are you with Sophia, Sawyer?" Because she's easy to fool, Sophia didn't dare to click on the chat records further down. Just then, a noise came from the entryway. Sophia silently saved the chat records and turned off her phone. As soon as he entered, Arthur threw his tie and briefcase on the sofa, then said carelessly, "I was drunk. Don't overthink it," not giving the slightest intention of explaining the chat records. Sophia took a deep breath to stabilize her emotions. A week ago, she found a striking lipstick mark on the collar of Arthur's shirt. From then on, she understood everything. Are the chat records Jane posted fake then? Sophia asked smoothly. Arthur didn't notice Sophia's pale face today, nor did he notice the choked change in her voice. He said impatiently, "I told you it was drunken nonsense. Why are you taking it seriously?" Only now did Sophia realize that men are much better at disguising themselves than women. She had a crush on Arthur for 3 years and dated for 7. In the first 2 years of dating, he was on call. In the last 2 years of dating, he was perfunctory. This situation really echoed that saying. Love becomes rough due to time. Humans aren't inherently long-term creatures. Undying love goes against nature. Understood. Sophia wanted to pretend she knew nothing. But no matter how she adjusted her facial expression, her tone remained cold. Arthur just assumed she was stressed from work and in a bad mood. "I'm too tired from work. Going to sleep first." The door of the master bedroom slammed shut with a bang. Sophia's hands, which had been clenched tight, finally relaxed. Her palms were blood red. She desperately wanted to have a showdown with Arthur, wanted to tear off his disguised face, but reason told her no. Because doing so would outweigh the gains, and she wouldn't be able to retreat unscathed, she took deep breaths so her emotions wouldn't fluctuate anymore. Master bedroom. Arthur was already fast asleep, but his WeChat kept ringing message after message. Sophia picked up the phone but was prompted that the password was incorrect. His original password was her birthday, now it was changed. Without a word, Sophia used Arthur's fingerprint to unlock the phone. It was messages from his studio group. Women these days are really hard to deal with. We make money outside, they enjoy ease at home, and they still forbid us from occasionally eating some wild vegetables. What man doesn't cheat? Wouldn't it be fine just to turn a blind eye? Sophia never checked up on him before. Now she knew that these colleagues of Arthur were indeed scumbags, talking about their girlfriends like this in private. Scrolling up, Arthur also sent a message. "Brothers, women are dogs." I wave my hand and she comes over wagging her tail. Sophia looked word for word at the messages Arthur sent with those scumbags. In the dark, the corners of her eyes reddened and bean-sized tears poured down. She took a few deep breaths before looking at Arthur. Indeed, a woman's enemy is never those mistresses, but the person beside her pillow in this love. She was always afraid of making too many mistakes, loving too fully, afraid that her love was all wishful thinking. A word of kindness from him that didn't even count as a love confession, and Sophia deceived herself into investing her 7 years. Meeting Arthur, Sophia was willing to admit defeat. At 2 a.m., Sophia quietly turned off the light and lay beside Arthur. The autumn rain outside the window began to drizzle again, and the air was full of sour dampness. Sophia looked at the teardrops dripping on the windowsill, unable to sleep no matter what. Sleepy Arthur pulled her into his arms, his palm stroking her spine. Insomnia again? Not very sleepy. Sophia pushed his hand away without a trace, remained silent for a few seconds, and said hoarsely, "Arthur, why did you want to be with me in the beginning?" Arthur's drowsiness faded slightly. He was silent for a long time. Sophia felt depressed in her heart and trembled. Was it because of that autumn rain? Maybe. He reached out again to touch her hair, his voice carrying some laughter. "I was thinking at the time, how can this girl be so silly?" Sophia was also laughing, but it didn't seem like a laugh. Holding her breath for a moment, she whimpered, "Arthur, what is it?" Sophia felt as if a 1,000-pound boulder was pressing on her heart. She couldn't ask that question no matter what. Finally, she could only whisper, "I'm sleepy." Then sleep. Arthur tucked the quilt for her. "Good night. Good night." Sophia closed her eyes, tears wetting a patch. Love can make people go forward courageously, and it can also make people timid. Then let her be a timid coward in love after that day. Arthur's law firm received a tricky case, and the entire office was running around in Elmwood. Sophia, on the other hand, was preparing for her promotion to senior screenwriter. The two were often so busy that even living under the same roof, they couldn't say a few words for several days. On the eve of the promotion, Sophia was so busy she slept directly on the office chair at the company. At first light, Riverton TV station received an anonymous report, reporting that the hit script, Naples Coastline, involved plagiarism. Once the matter blew up, All the screenwriters at Riverton TV station were investigated and controlled. A month later, the final investigation results were publicized. The previous report had falsification issues, and the reporter was missing. To suppress this wave of public opinion, script creator Sophia was suspended for investigation. On the weekend, Sophia received a call from Martha and went home. Martha had also heard a bit about her suspension and wanted to ask about her plans now. Wait for the station's notice first. I wasn't involved in plagiarism, and now it's just a suspension. The final result isn't out yet. Martha sighed continuously. Did you tell Arthur about your suspension? Sophia shook her head. Not yet, he's been on a business trip recently. Hearing this, Martha said, then you might as well go to Elmwood, visit Arthur while you're at it, and treat it as a distraction. Sophia nodded. Okay. The next day was Sunday. Sophia originally wanted to surprise Arthur, but upon arriving at the airport, she still gave Arthur a call. Arthur was a bit surprised and pleasantly surprised to hear she was coming. Send me the high-speed train schedule. I'll pick you up at the platform. Sophia laughed. Okay. On the streets of Elmwood, the chill of late autumn lingered, accompanied by the autumn rain falling in bursts without end. Sophia had just sat in the passenger seat and exchanged a few words with Arthur when she felt drowsy. Sleepy? He asked. A little. Then sleep for a while. I'll wake you when we get to the restaurant. With that, Arthur reached out and turned off the soothing piano music in the car. Waking up again, she heard Arthur talking on the phone with a university classmate. When she moved, the suit jacket draped over her fell to her legs. Harry Walker. Artie, has the sister-in-law arrived? Say, why did the sister-in-law suddenly come to Elmwood to find you? Could it be she heard something about you and Jane West and came to check up on you? Shut up, Arthur took a drag of his cigarette, seemingly irritable. I'm joking. Does the sister-in-law know about Jane West being pregnant? So I can tell the brothers. She doesn't know, don't talk nonsense. All righty. Sophia looked out the car window, tears soaking her eye sockets, the suit jacket stained with patches of tear flowers. Seeing the man about to hang up, Sophia quickly wiped her eyes, pushed the door open, and walked down. Arthur turned off his phone, wanting to step forward and hold her hand. Sophia stood in place, motionless. The cold wind rising from the river made the bottom of one's heart feel cold. Arthur walked up to her, looking slightly nervous. Woke up. Arthur touched her cold fingertips, shrinking back before holding them. Why so cold? He took the suit jacket from the car and draped it over her shoulders, his palms wet. Is Elmwood much colder than Riverton? Sophia held back the sourness in her nose, responding with a tremble. Yes, Elmwood is too cold, colder than she imagined, so cold that her chest hurt so much. So cold that she missed the autumn rain of her 21st year. That autumn rain fell continuously, soaking her entire life through, full of mud. The second day Sophia arrived in Elmwood, Arthur temporarily abandoned her and met Jane outside the restaurant. After 7 years, a window still separated her and Arthur. She looked at the two figures side by side. The autumn rain in her heart overlapped with 7 years ago as if to drown her. Sophia wanted to walk straight over, walk in front of Arthur, but at the moment of pushing the door, she heard Jane call him. Artie. Dating for 7 years, Sophia always called Arthur by his full name, Arthur Chase, and he always called her Sophia Sawyer. It seemed from the very beginning, their relationship was like this form of address, never crossing into a more intimate place. This relationship was like the arrow notch corrected wrongly 7 years ago, hitting the bulls 7 years later to form a closed loop. She wasn't honest enough, and Arthur was also hiding things. Neither of them was more upright than the other. After returning from Elmwood, Sophia accepted the investigation from the TV station. Everyone knew Sophia was wronged, but everyone was clear about the darkness inside. No one dared to speak. Everyone wanted to protect themselves. The station's covert demotion, while overtly protecting, was already the best solution. Sophia returned to the office of the initial editor, Rachel, working overtime day and night. Contact with Arthur was also intermittent. The start of autumn in September was Arthur's 28th birthday. He received a call from Martha early in the morning, knowing she had been working overtime day and night at the company recently. In order not to disturb her work, Arthur kept glancing at his phone messages from morning to evening. Originally, Jane and the brothers from the firm planned to hold a birthday party for him. To see Sophia, Arthur returned to Riverton alone. No one had lived in the house for a long time. The various pothos plants on the balcony had wilted. After tidying up casually, Arthur cooked a table full of food and a birthday cake himself. But waiting until nearly midnight, what he waited for was a sentence. I forgot, at this moment, his heart was full of disappointment and exhaustion, but he was still expecting an explanation. Even just stalling with a few sentences would do. But until the end of this day, Arthur didn't hear a single explanation from Sophia. He only heard her say break up, said sorry, said forgot, said happy birthday. But this happy birthday came too late, too late. Ding, it is now international time, 12:15 a.m. The wall clock hanging on the wall pulled Sophia's thoughts back to reality. The two confronted each other silently in the dark. Eventually, Sophia admitted defeat first. I'll keep you company to eat a piece of cake, Arthur responded with a good. On the dim dining table, Arthur carefully cut a piece of cake full of fresh fruit for Sophia, then handed a piece of buttered abalone to her. Sophia suddenly laughed, her eyelashes trembling slightly. She picked up the fork and ate the fresh fruit on the cake bite by bite. A fresh fruit cake and a buttered abalone took Sophia nearly an hour to finish. The first bite was the first encounter at Naples coast. The second bite was the seemingly unintentional encounter under that autumn rain. The third bite was the 3 words written all over the paper. The fourth bite was the encounter passing by the law school unintentionally. The fifth bite was the boy carrying a coward on his broad back. The sixth bite was that bottle of water that was bought by someone else and never belonged to her. The seventh bite was she thought he loved her. The eighth bite was she realized he didn't love her enough. At this time, the first rain of autumn began to fall outside the window, the cold wind piercing the bone. Through the dim halo, Sophia vaguely saw herself, wanton and flamboyant, at the convenience store that night. Arthur Chase, I am Sophia Sawyer. I like you. 21-year-old Sophia Sawyer likes you. 22, 23, 24-year-old Sophia Sawyer also likes you. Finally, 28-year-old Sophia Sawyer doesn't want to like Arthur Chase anymore. Sophia clutched her chest, the fork falling to the ground, breathing heavily, tears sliding down her eyelids. When watching TV dramas as a child, she hated it most when the male and female leads obviously liked each other but tacitly played dumb. Then missed out, living with regret for a lifetime. But only later did she understand that some words are not so easy to say. Naples Bay is one of the 8 great gulfs of the world. The sea surface presents 2 colors. Due to density, the 2 bodies of water can never merge into one. Feelings are like 2 parallel lines that intersect but never cross. Perhaps the starting point is the same, but they can never overcome the density to be together. Sophia was severely allergic to fruit and seafood. Arthur forgot completely the last sentence Sophia said before fainting was, Arthur, let's break up. Her short sentence slaughtered Arthur completely, leaving no armor. Between them, it was just like that step she corrected wrongly in the game. 1 step wrong, every step wrong. It was a dead end from the very beginning. For a 28-year-old woman, comfort and cursing both seem superfluous. Some wounds hurt more the more you show them. Licking them alone is the best choice. Not being strong, who can you be weak for? This is the most important creed in Sophia's 28 years of life. The breakup with Arthur turned the Sawyer household upside down, plus the matter of Sophia's suspension. The mother-daughter relationship between Martha and her was greatly damaged. To return to the position of chief editor as soon as possible, Sophia busied herself between the company and her rental apartment every day. She was too busy, so busy she didn't even have time to be sad. On this day, after the company dinner, 2 new interns were whispering together about something. After a good while, they coyly said to Sophia, Sister Soph, it wasn't easy to catch a chance to rest. How about going for a foot massage together to relax? Sophia gave an O to agree. Arriving at the destination, the foot bath center was full of a floating scent of decadence and rot. Sophia opened a private room alone. The woman who came to give her a foot massage was in her 30s, quick with her hands, and didn't talk much. Sophia had drunk alcohol at the dinner, and her brain had been a bit chaotic. She slept on the sofa, her mind constantly recalling the 7 years she was with Arthur. Past memories alternated in her brain. The more she thought, the more her head hurt, and she suddenly sat up from the bed. The massage woman was startled. Before she could react, she heard Sophia say seriously, "No need to massage anymore, you go rest." The massage woman's expression was a bit astonished. Probably few people called a stop after such a short time. Thinking her service wasn't good, she didn't dare leave for a long time. Sophia was helpless and explained, "I want to rest alone for a while." Seeing this, the massage woman tremblingly took out a room card from her pocket and handed it to Sophia. "Boss, your 2 friends asked me to give this to you, saying for you to enjoy yourself tonight." Only then did Sophia understand the purpose of those 2 interns. She looked at the room card, knowing what awaited her behind it. Sophia and Arthur had been law-abiding for 7 years of dating. Although not some chaste martyr, she had always stuck to her bottom line. Thinking about it, it was really silly. A person nearing 30 having needs is normal. Who is she keeping chaste for? Who takes it seriously? The moment she took the room card, she suddenly had a feeling that her life would take a completely different path from before. Perhaps one day in the future, she would have a notorious reputation like some women at the station. Strange, she actually didn't feel sad at all. She just really wanted to rebel once, indulge once, be crazy once. She searched for a long time before finding room 666. There were only 10 rooms on the entire floor, all VIPs. The lighting in the corridor was dimmed very low. Looks like those 2 interns spent a fortune. Whether she was a bit drunk or really too nervous, she couldn't open it after swiping the card several times, but unexpectedly, the door opened with a twist of the handle. She herself couldn't remember clearly whether she swiped the card or not. The further Sophia walked in, the more her legs trembled. She pretended to be calm and sat on the sofa. In her ears was the sound of water splashing in the bathroom. She swallowed her saliva, thinking that current male models are really dedicated, knowing to shower first before the guest arrives. The more this professional spirit existed, the more she wanted to retreat. She cursed at herself inwardly for being useless, picked up her bag, and prepared to leave. Just as she turned around, the bathroom door opened. Sophia looked back subconsciously, and a half-naked man came into her view. She looked him up and down, tight legs, a towel around his waist, and abs still dripping with water. Everything was incredibly perfect. Sophia sighed in her heart. The quality of male models nowadays is really high. Although the male model before her was delicious, Sophia still chickened out. She decided to flee at the last minute. She really couldn't do such unrestrained things. She took 2 steps back, swallowed her saliva, reached into her bag, and was just about to take out some tip money for the man before her. Unexpectedly, the man waved his hand impatiently at her and said, "Don't get the condoms." Not doing it. Sophia froze for a moment. "What?" The man frowned tightly, his cold features looking slightly serious. He looked straight at Sophia, his eyes full of undisguised disdain. "Whoever gave you money, go service them, and tell him not to play little tricks to please me. Should have found some good goods too. I, Quentin Rutherford, never play with old women." Sophia didn't know if she was drunk or the man before her was drunk. Her hand was still in her bag, fingertips just touching her wallet. She blinked, and the man had already turned and walked toward the room. "Wait." Sophia called out to stop him. "What condoms? What service? What?" "Old woman." The man was tall, with a broad back. He turned back and looked down at Sophia from a height. Sophia quickly puffed out her chest. She couldn't lose in momentum. Seeing her approach, the man stepped back with a look of disgust and asked back, "What do you think?" Sophia was completely provoked by his indifferent look. She strode forward and said aggressively, "You call me an old woman?" Seeing her approach, the man stepped back as if avoiding a plague and said, "You're at least 28, right?" Sophia curled her lips and asked angrily, "What's wrong with 28? Did 28 offend you? Does 28 not deserve your service as a male model?" Hearing the words male model, the man frowned tightly, just about to say something, suddenly interrupted by urgent knocking at the door. Quentin glanced at Sophia and went straight to open the door. 2 staff members in uniform said with faces full of apology, "Mr. Rutherford, really sorry. Miss Sawyer seems to have gone to the wrong room. We just saw it on the surveillance." One of the waiters waved at Sophia. "Miss Sawyer, you went wrong. This is room 999, Mr. Rutherford's permanent residence." Quentin looked at Sophia, then at the staff, seeming to suddenly realize something, and burst into laughter. The look he gave Sophia became meaningful. Sophia looked back and forth a few times, realizing she had caused a huge mix-up, and her face turned red instantly. Just as she was preparing to grease her feet and leave quickly, she heard the man say in a low voice, "Miss, look clearly at the door number in the future. You have to know some men are unaffordable for you." Sophia was originally in the wrong and prepared to leave, but his words completely ignited her. She stomped back in her high heels, searching inside and out of her wallet for a long time, only finding a coin in the corner of the wallet, 50 cents. Sophia pinched it with an orchid finger and stuffed the 50 cents into the towel around the man's waist with a very generous gesture. Pursing her lips, she smiled very charmingly. "Sorry, in my eyes, you're worth this much. Keep the change." After speaking, Sophia turned elegantly and walked out of the room openly, leaving the two staff members dumbfounded. Before leaving, Sophia left a sentence. "Confucius said, 'Only villains and women are hard to raise.' Provoking a woman, isn't that courting death?" After arriving at the company the next day, Sophia scolded those two interns severely. After that, Sophia went to the beauty salon continuously for a week. Several times the beautician wanted to tell her. Doing it too frequently causes overnutrition, which isn't good, but her face was gloomy like a black demon. No one dared to say much to her. Rachel was off on the weekend and did a spa with her. After hearing her complain, not only did Rachel show no sympathy, but she also gloated and laughed nonstop. "I told you hundreds of times to tidy yourself up regularly. How do you put it? Naturally beautiful, but didn't people still see at a glance that you're 28? Sophia got even angrier being told by her. "I went to a clothing store last time, and they said I was a university student." Rachel rolled her eyes at her. "They count on you to spend heavily otherwise. If they call you auntie, would you still recharge your card?" Sophia was choked by her, unable to answer for a moment, and could only say through gritted teeth, "I hate that guy named Quentin Rutherford." "Quentin Rutherford?" Rachel suddenly jumped up and repeated, "You said that man is Quentin Rutherford?" Sophia was confused by Rachel's excitement. "What's wrong, your lover?" "I wish," Rachel thought for a while and said, "Quentin Rutherford is a business crocodile. In recent years, all the miniseries companies were founded by him single-handedly, aiming to promote a female internet celebrity. Also heard his private life is very messy. Meeting him in that kind of place? All right, let's not talk about him. Crocodile or not, I see him as a stinking male model." Rachel shook her head helplessly. "With that foul mouth of yours, no wonder you didn't get married after 7 years with Arthur Chase." Sophia originally had a few smiles on her face, but upon hearing that name, her expression changed immediately. "Are you intentionally disgusting me?" Seeing her expression was wrong, Rachel immediately raised her hands. "Injustice, I wouldn't dare. I just heard some news and wanted to report to your highness." Sophia glanced at her. "Granted, speak." "Heard Arthur and Jane West got married." Indescribable feeling. When this almost taboo name was spoken so lightly from Rachel's mouth, mild ripples rose in Sophia's heart. Not about love or hate, just the stubbornness of a girl in 7 years of time. Women hold grudges. Even if the love is gone, she still cares about the answers to some things, even though Sophia knew she would never ask. Ding, the phone rang with a text message. "Soph, currently Naples coastline is a hit." When the company was preparing to shoot a new version of Sad Romance, it was reported by a Riverton law firm for suspecting promotion of false views on marriage and taken down. The station limits you to solve this matter within 10 days. Sophia didn't expect that the man who had been with her day and night for 7 years would play her so hard after breaking up. Rachel on the side looked worried. What to do? Call the police? Sophia looked at her helplessly. Of course, report to the police, but the problem is to solve this issue now. Paid users won't care what problems occurred internally in the company. Users will only ask our company to be responsible. How much compensation will this cost? Money isn't the problem. The problem is the future. Originally suspended before, now with this trouble, it's clear they don't want me promoted to chief editor of miniseries. Rachel's eyebrows were knotted. Then, what to do? How to win this lawsuit in 10 days? Sophia took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. Can we find a law firm willing to guarantee our victory? Rachel thought for a moment and said, there is one. But that company's quote will definitely be very high. Sophia thought for a moment. Protecting the future is more important. Offering heavy gold, there will always be someone willing. What's the surname of that boss you mentioned? Rachel stammered. Surname Rutherford. Which boss Rutherford? It's Quentin Rutherford, whom you mistook for a male model. With that, Rachel placed the business card, printed with Quentin Rutherford, in Sophia's hand. A moment later, Sophia nervously dialed the phone number on the card. A young man answered, claiming to be Quentin's secretary. That person spoke very formulaically to Sophia. Mr. Rutherford will return your call at his discretion later. Usually, receiving such a remark meant there would be no reply later. After all, it was a stranger's call. Sophia had originally given up on this crocodile, Quentin. Unexpectedly, in the evening while driving, she received a call from a stranger. At that time, Sophia was stuck on Riverton's Second Ring Road. The weather was hot and people were irritable, so her tone wasn't very good when picking up the phone. Before the person on the other end spoke, they chuckled lightly first. Sophia felt this call was very weird and asked snappily, "Who is it?" 3 words came faintly from the other end. Quentin Rutherford. Who is Quentin Rutherford? Sophia blurted out almost instantly, then immediately remembered after speaking and changed her tone instantly. "Hello, Mr. Rutherford, look at me. I forget everything when I'm in a rush." Quentin said on the other end, "It's okay, maybe menopause has arrived. Hearing degrades, memory isn't good either." This familiar mean tone. Sophia's heart sank like a stone into the bottom of a lake, unable to float up again. Sure enough, it was that day's male model. Her luck was unparalleled. She had no heart to play guerrilla warfare with him and asked directly, "Just say it, how will you agree to help me?" Quentin seemed very accustomed to her like this, smiling faintly. "That depends on your sincerity." "What do you think counts as sincerity?" "Since it's sincerity, of course, you have to think of it yourself." Before Sophia could say her next words, Quentin said, "Focus on driving, I'm hanging up." "How did you know?" Before Sophia could say the 4 words, "I am driving," Quentin had already hung up the phone. "This. Exactly what kind of man is this? Did he just hang up on me?" Harboring the word sincerity, Sophia didn't sleep well all night at home. What does Quentin lack? He has money and status. Thinking about the situation that day again, plenty of people racking their brains to curry favor with him, he shouldn't lack women either, right? Sophia thought all night without getting a clue. Appearing at the TV station the next day with panda eyes, she lay on Rachel's desk and asked her, "What do you think a successful man needs?" Rachel gave her a meaningful look. "Women," Sophia's eyes flashed. "Then how about I pledge myself to Quentin Rutherford?" Rachel knocked Sophia with a look of horror. "Soph, did you forget what he said that day?" Quentin's voice suddenly rang in Sophia's mind. "I, Quentin Rutherford, never play with old women." She had a flash of inspiration. "You go find a younger beauty." Rachel raised her hand to her forehead, helpless. "Where do I find one?" Sophia glared at her. "I don't care where you find one, anyway. She has to be young and pretty." When the young girl Rachel found appeared at the company looking aggrieved, Sophia's heart went completely cold. She originally thought Quentin should be lecherous. This girl looked young, pretty, and inexperienced. He actually rejected her. Sending the girl away, Sophia fell into deep thought again. Thinking all morning, she instructed Rachel, "You pack $200,000 and send it to Boss Rutherford to test the waters." Rachel frowned. Will it work? Heard Boss Rutherford is worth billions. How could he lack these 200,000? Just pack it. Why so many words? Sophia watched with her own eyes as Rachel took the file bag containing $200,000 out. Near the end of the shift, Rachel came back elated, still holding that file bag intact in her hands. She said happily, "Boss Rutherford's secretary said Boss Rutherford agreed to help us?" Sophia asked in confusion. "He didn't take the money," Rachel answered. "He took it." Rachel poured out the money from the file bag in her arms. Out of 20 stacks of money, only 1 stack was opened. Inside was a pile of small change, 5 50-cent coins, and $21 bills. The most exaggerated part was because Rachel's movement was too big when pouring. A 50-cent coin inside rolled onto the floor, landing right by Sophia's foot. Not more, not less, exactly 50 cents. Sophia bent down to pick up the 50 cents, just about to ask, when she heard Rachel say, "Boss Rutherford's secretary only took 50 cents and told me to tell you. Boss Rutherford said he's only worth 50 cents, so he only took 50 cents. Although Quentin had a bad mouth, he was trustworthy. Promising to help, he really signed a contract with Sophia. It solved Sophia's urgent need instantly. Only this man had heirs. Every time it was his secretary who showed up. Afterward, Sophia wanted to treat him to a meal. He said arrogantly and disdainfully on the phone, "Save it first, eat later when enough 50 cents are saved." Sophia felt quite helpless in her heart, but he helped her after all, so she was quite respectful verbally, agreeing repeatedly. This meal was saved for 10 days. 10 days later, the police closed the case. The cause was found to be Jane West using firm resources to maliciously report Naples' coastline, causing the rating of the drama to drop continuously. Afterward, Rachel asked Sophia how to solve this, still continue to pursue it. Sophia thought for a while and said, "Forget it, gain wisdom from a fall, treat it as a breakup fee for Arthur." Seeing Rachel look a bit resentful when leaving, Sophia sighed lightly. Just count it as her womanly benevolence. Business fails, but righteousness remains. After all, having shared a bed for so long, sending his newly wedded wife to jail would be too heartless. Initially, right after the breakup, Martha barely mentioned the word breakup, afraid of poking her wound. Half a year passed. Seeing her daughter was fine and still lively, Martha started her little calculations again. While eating, Martha poked Sophia's rice bowl with her chopsticks. "Heard from Rachel that you successfully got promoted to chief editor of miniseries at the station recently." Sophia shoveled rice into her mouth, saying without lifting her head, "It's okay. I'm not talking to you about this. I just want to ask about your private life." Martha spread her chopsticks and said directly, "You're almost 30. You can't spend your whole life at the TV station, can you?" Sophia picked up a chopstick of beef, pondering her mom's words in her heart. Thinking about it, it made sense. Maybe she should find a man. She asked roguishly, "What? Mom, do you have a high-quality male to introduce to me?" Martha knocked Sophia on the head with her chopsticks. Sophia dodged quickly with sharp eyes and agile hands. "What's with you, girl? Since the breakup, you've become less and less ladylike. Told you back then not to follow that guy named Chase. You didn't listen and cohabited with him, making it known to everyone. How can you marry now?" Sophia muttered in a low voice. "I didn't plan to marry anyway." "What you don't plan to marry? Are you trying to anger me to death, Sophia Sawyer?" Enduring more than 2 hours of Martha's scolding, Sophia finally picked up her little life back. The premise was that she compromised and agreed to a blind date with the neighbor's son of Martha's best friend's sister. On the weekend, Sophia, who finally got time to rest, had to go meet the legendary neighbor's son of Martha's best friend's sister. To show respect, Sophia specially wore a fitted knitted dress and put on some light makeup. While putting on makeup, looking at herself in the mirror, Sophia felt quite sad. Back in university, Sophia always thought she would maintain her beauty and tidy herself up well for that one person she loved most in this life. But experiences over so many years told her it's impossible to dress up for just one person in a lifetime. Because a man might meet many, many women in a lifetime. In this world, you can believe anything. The only thing you can't believe is love. Love is a poison only women catch. When she arrived at the agreed seafood restaurant, she found the blind date had already arrived. Wearing a plaid shirt, slightly chubby, wearing heavy black-rimmed glasses, a programmer at first glance without a doubt. This didn't fit Sophia's criteria for a mate, but she thought about it. She wasn't young anymore. And having had a 7-year love marathon, her standards shouldn't be too picky. She smiled, greeted him, and sat down. Just as she sat down, the man talked incessantly. "Miss Sawyer, you should have heard from your mom, right? I haven't been married and work in a foreign enterprise. Heard you talked with your ex-boyfriend for 7 years and cohabited for several years. Obviously, I have a bigger advantage in finding a partner than you." Sophia twitched her mouth unconsciously, wondering where Martha found this overconfident man. Unexpectedly, this man continued. "Your economic condition is better than mine. I'm very satisfied with your personal conditions. I only hope you buy me a luxury car before marriage, put it in my name, to show me your sincerity in wanting to marry me." Sophia clenched her fist and said unbearably, "Sorry, what was your surname again?" "My surname is Pigot. It's been a while, how come you haven't even remembered my name?" "That's not important," Sophia waved her hand. Brother Pig, really too embarrassed. "Sincerity is something I haven't had since I was little. Sophia stood up, casually threw a few $100 bills from her wallet onto the table. Hope never to meet again in this life. Thought meeting one weirdo was enough, but unexpectedly in the following weeks. She successively met various weirdos during blind dates, so much so that in the end, even eating at home felt like torture, her mood like facing punishment. Martha scolded her incessantly. "What's wrong with you? Seeing so many and none worked out. Why rely on feelings randomly? Look at you focusing on one relationship for 7 years, and the result." Sophia knew she was talking about Arthur and felt somewhat in the wrong. A person must not take the wrong path, because once wrong, no one will believe your sense of direction afterward. "Mom," Sophia said somewhat discouragedly, "can I not marry? Can't the family tolerate me?" Thought her mom would say something warm, but she said, "Of course not. Could I watch my daughter, who isn't 30 yet, become an old maid for the rest of her life? Then introduce me to someone reliable. How is it unreliable? Everyone has a clean background. Although some economic conditions aren't as good as yours, they are also very good. Yeah, right, asking me to buy him a luxury car right away. That one was an accident. What about the teacher afterward? I haven't said anything yet, and he told me he has requirements for sex life, at least 7 times a week. I think there's something wrong with his brain." Martha was choked for a moment and said unwillingly, "What about the elite white-collar worker last week? I thought he was very reliable." "Him," Sophia rolled her eyes. "He wasn't there for a blind date. Right away, he wanted me to hand over my salary to him, asking for $1 million a year. The more Sophia spoke, the more aggrieved she felt. "Mom, spare me, leave these elites to those in need. I really don't need them." Sigh, Martha turned angrily and went back to her room. Sophia finally won a moment of peace. Because her mom pressed too hard, she also began to urge the agent to find her a house constantly. It was just that she had quite a few requirements for the house. Looking back and forth at several properties, she wasn't very satisfied. This day, leaving work early with Rachel, the two agreed to stroll around together. Just out of the company, Sophia couldn't help but start complaining wildly. Rachel looked sympathetic. "You've been quite unlucky recently, always meeting weirdos. How about this? I'll take you to calculate your fortune." Sophia was never superstitious, so she always disliked charlatans who earned this kind of money. In the cramped space, various bronze statues were placed, burning sandalwood incense that made one feel a bit dizzy. The light was dim. Sophia could only clearly see the fortune-telling man looked handsome. As soon as she sat down, she couldn't help but size up the charlatan in front of her. "Heard your fortune-telling is very accurate," the man said in a pleasant voice. "I don't tell fortunes, I just reveal part of the heavenly secret. Everyone has different comprehension. I cannot control how they understand." Sophia smiled. "Then calculate something for me. If you calculate correctly, I'll believe you." The man pursed his lips and looked at Sophia. Sophia said very seriously, "What are the numbers for the next 10 million lottery?" Before the man could answer, Rachel, who hadn't spoken on the side, shouted unbearably, "Sophia Sawyer, get the hell out and wait." Sophia walked out dejectedly carrying her bag, turned her head to glance at the ant nest-sized shop, and complained secretly, "Rachel Lane, you just fell for that fortune-telling pretty boy thinking she didn't know." Sophia thought Rachel would probably take a long time inside, so she simply strolled around the mall. Walking for a while, she felt tired, randomly entered a shop by the street, and drank something. The shop was decorated exquisitely and artistically, very spacious. Because it was built on a back street, there weren't too many people. The semi-circular dark sofa could completely block one's view. Only the voice of the person talking behind, Sophia heard word for word. At dusk, the setting sun lazily spilled onto the table through the window, dyeing the gradually cooling coffee. A woman's low sobbing kept coming intermittently, but the man opposite was unmoved. "If you have nothing else, I'll leave first." The man's voice was consistently distant. Finally, Sophia heard the rustling sound of clothes when the man stood up. She looked up subconsciously, just seeing Quentin's cold jaw. His gaze was straight and didn't see Sophia. Instead, that woman caught up instantly and grabbed Quentin's arm. Only then did Sophia see clearly what the sobbing woman looked like. Waist-length hair permed into fashionable and charming curls, red lips and white teeth, eyes full of tears. "Quentin, you can't just leave like this. Apart from you, no one can help me. If it were usual, Sophia would definitely complain that this man wasn't decent, being so heartless to such a beauty. But this man wasn't anyone else. It was Quentin who had helped Sophia. Thinking this woman was probably Quentin's romantic debt, with such a good opportunity, she should repay the favor. She stood up abruptly, forcefully removed the woman's hand, and used her body to separate Quentin and the woman. "Let go, Quentin Rutherford is my boyfriend," Sophia spoke with strong momentum. Even Quentin behind her was stunned for a moment. The woman ignored Sophia, staring unblinkingly at Quentin. "Quentin, I have cancer, the treatment needs." Sophia originally thought the woman would say something that would make her shy away, but didn't expect such a cliché opening. Is this acting out a tragic heroine? She burst out laughing and joked, "Well, I only have one kidney left." Before the woman replied, she continued, "Sold the other one and bought the latest iPhone." Quentin, who hadn't made a sound, was finally forced to break his composure by Sophia's sentence, bursting into laughter. Seeing Quentin smile, the woman's eyes dimmed unconsciously. She let go of them, stopped pestering, and left tearfully. Quentin paused for a while and also walked away. Seeing his gloomy face, Sophia couldn't help following him. Seeing he remained silent, they walked all the way to the parking lot like this. "Driving?" Quentin turned sideways to look at Sophia. Sophia shook her head subconsciously. "Get in." Don't know why Sophia, who should have waited for Rachel, got into Quentin's car so inexplicably. There was no fragrance in the car. Sophia felt this feeling was somewhat wonderful. "Was that your ex-girlfriend?" she asked. Quentin drove quietly, nodding faintly. Wanted to get back together with you?" "No," the corner of Quentin's mouth curled into a self-mocking smile, "asking to borrow money." Sophia widened her eyes. What borrowing money? Saying it so artistically, it's just asking for money. Only after saying this did she realize that this man with a bad mouth was rarely saying anything. There was an expression on his cold face that people couldn't understand. Couldn't say what it was, but it didn't look sad either. "What? She didn't come to reconcile with you, you're quite disappointed." One sentence finally provoked some reaction from Quentin. Coincidentally meeting a red light at the intersection, Quentin stopped the car. Supporting the steering wheel with his hand, leaning his head, looking at Sophia with a faint smile. "Is it that menopause causes talkativeness and frequent talking?" Sophia was completely enraged by his 3 words, menopause, again. How many times has he said menopause? "Can you respect me a little bit? Anyway, I just helped you. Are you a man or not?" Seeing Sophia angry out of shame, Quentin suddenly laughed out loud. When he turned back again, Sophia faced a formidable enemy, wondering if he was going to say harsh words again. She had to be ready at all times. Lose the person but not the battle unexpectedly. He just suddenly reached out, grabbed Sophia's hand, and placed it on his warm place. Then asked Sophia with a particularly punchable expression, "You tell me, am I a man?" His original intention was to tease Sophia. Normally, a woman encountering this situation would mostly withdraw her hand in fear and curse rogue with a red face. But who is Sophia Sawyer? She was seen incredibly calm, even with a bit of seduction, looking up and smiling at Quentin with pursed lips. Her hand gently pinched the warm little Quentin, joking. Really is, Sophia had always been heartless, except for her persistent love for Arthur over so many years. There wasn't really anything worth remembering for her. The broken matter with Quentin was forgotten to the heavens before long. Not that Quentin lacked charm. On the contrary, Quentin's charm was too great. If falling in love with such a man, probably wouldn't even know how one died, right? Emotionally, Sophia had never been very confident, so she always wanted to find an ordinary man to live an ordinary life. She couldn't handle a man coveted by too many women. But who knew there are no ordinary men in this world? Regardless of what kind of man, with great temptation, they will cheat. Regarding marriage, Sophia had completely given up. In the future, she just wanted to work hard, write hit scripts, and earn money to honor her parents. Sophia wanted to draw a clear line with Arthur, but Riverton was just this big. She even less expected that a whim to take a walk would lead to an unexpected encounter with Arthur face to face. Sophia didn't want unnecessary trouble and walked ahead alone for a bit, but didn't expect Arthur to keep following behind her. She stopped helplessly. "What are you following me for?" Arthur looked at Sophia with eyes full of longing and reluctance. He was silent for a while before saying, "How have you been recently?" Sophia got angry as soon as he asked this, smiling coldly. "Thanks to you, very good." Seeing her expression, Arthur panicked unconsciously. "About the script last time, it absolutely wasn't me trying to harm you. I let Jane have free rein only hoping you'd come to find me, only wanting you to come back to my side." Looking at Arthur's helpless appearance, Sophia only felt chilled. "I've already jumped out of the fire pit. How could I jump back? Arthur, we've already broken up. Live a good life with Jane. I don't love her at all. I just wanted to find her to have a child back then. I didn't expect. Can you?" Sophia interrupted impatiently. "Enough, I don't want to hear those messy things from the past." Leaving. Seeing Sophia leaving resolutely, Arthur flew into a rage out of humiliation and suddenly raised his voice. "I'm a fire pit then. Which fire pit have you jumped into now? Don't think I don't know what kind of thing is Quentin Rutherford. Would he be so kind to help you? Sophia, you're really something, no sense of shame at all now, sleeping with someone in exchange for chips, right?" Sophia listened to Arthur saying word by word, thinking, people just shouldn't be too kind. She gripped the leather bag in her hand tightly, turned back, and smiled brightly at Arthur. Sleeping with anyone is sleeping, might as well sleep with someone impressive. She suddenly gave Arthur an ambiguous look. "However, Boss Rutherford lasts much longer than you. You're useless." Arthur was angered by her shameless admission. "Sophia, you eat for a long time without producing anything." Sophia felt bored and turned to leave. Leaving the park, Arthur finally didn't follow, good for peace and quiet. At this time, autumn rain began to fall from the sky, getting heavier. Sophia couldn't get a taxi, so she had to walk further to the roadside to see if she could hail one. The autumn rain kept falling. Sophia walked in the rain. The bottom of her heart suddenly had a bit of weakness. Turns out she wasn't some superwoman. She would also be sad, also be tired, also want a shoulder to lean on. Thinking like this, her nose felt sour unconsciously. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Opening her eyes again, her vision was suddenly blocked by a black umbrella. She looked back subconsciously, just seeing Quentin's cold and sharp face. The autumn rain pattered endlessly. In the hazy humidity, Quentin was just like the night descending from the sky on a white horse in fairy tales. For a moment, Sophia really wanted to unload everything and rush into his arms. But she didn't. She had always been a woman strong to the point of stubbornness. Shivering from the cold wind, she rubbed her arms and looked down subconsciously, realizing her shirt was soaked and sticking to her body. Revealing the shape of her underwear, she crossed her arms over her chest awkwardly, shifted her gaze, and asked Quentin, "Boss Rutherford, why are you here?" Quentin stuffed the umbrella into Sophia's hand, took off his suit jacket neatly, and draped it casually over Sophia. Sophia was startled by his action and took a step back, looking at him defensively. "What are you doing?" Quentin looked at Sophia seemingly nonchalantly and answered faintly, "Armor." Sophia glanced at the suit jacket on her body, still carrying Quentin's slight warmth mixed with a hint of mint fragrance. It was the scent exclusive to this toxic-tongued man. "Why didn't you drive?" Quentin asked. "Drank alcohol, where's your best friend, sent someone else off." "Oh." Quentin pointed ahead with his chin, "I'll give you a lift, can't catch a taxi here." Sophia followed Quentin into the car. Just as she buckled her seatbelt, she heard Quentin say, "I'm going home, not the same way as you. Get out and hail a taxi yourself at the next intersection later. There's traffic now, and I don't want to go into the city center." What was Sophia thinking just now? How could she have such absurd thoughts? Thinking Quentin was a knight. The rain grew heavier. In a while, the windshield was washed so much the road couldn't be seen clearly. Only the wipers swept back and forth ceaselessly. Many necessary road sections were flooded. Quentin had to change routes several times. In the end, he lost patience. Suddenly turning the head, changed lanes, and got on the ring road. "Where is this going?" "My home," Quentin answered cleanly and neatly. "Why go to your home? Then how about I stop and let you get out?" Sophia looked at the pouring rain and muttered, "What do you want to do taking me to your house?" Quentin suddenly smiled and answered, "Relax, I'm not interested in old women." Hearing him say this, Sophia couldn't save face and immediately retorted rudely. "I think you're just old and useless," she pretended to regret. "Last time I pinched it and it couldn't stand up, sigh." "No." Quentin turned back, looked at Sophia sympathetically. It just doesn't stand up for you. Sophia knew Quentin was mocking her lack of charm. She was simply going to explode with anger. If he weren't still driving, she really wanted to fight him. This man's mouth is truly beyond saving, no matter how much money he has. She really felt sad for the woman who would be with this man in the future. So many men in the world, how could one be so blind? Quentin took her to a large flat located on the edge of the second ring road. More than 300 square meters, minimalist decoration style. The house was empty, lacking human presence. Quentin rummaged through chests and cupboards to find her address. Pure white color, the neckline even had lace trim. Looked like clothes for an innocent white flower. When Sophia took the clothes, she couldn't help thinking, so Quentin likes this type. No wonder he always calls her old. She changed out of the wet clothes. The dress size fit her perfectly. Only the style was really a bit unsuitable for the 28-year-old her. After putting it on, she didn't even dare to look in the mirror, too embarrassed. Just coming out of the washroom, she bumped into Quentin, who had just washed his hair and was wiping it. Sparse water droplets slid from the top of his head to his neck. The protruding Adam's apple looked very sexy. But before Sophia could swallow, Quentin couldn't help bursting into laughter. Sophia knew he was laughing at her outfit, couldn't say anything, just rolled her eyes at him fiercely. She took her bag to leave. The rain stopped now. Easy to hail a car here, I'm leaving. Quentin turned around without lifting his eyes. Walk slowly, not seeing you off. This man probably really doesn't know how to write the word gentleman. While packing her clothes, Sophia complained vigorously in her heart. Just as she stood still, her gaze was attracted by two photos in the glass cabinet. One was a group photo of a seemingly still green Quentin wearing a white shirt and black trousers with the back of a young girl. The background was Naples coast. Sophia asked casually, subconsciously, "This is?" Quentin turned back, looking at Sophia very impatiently. "Why haven't you left yet?" Saying so, he walked toward Sophia, opened the cabinet in front of her, and turned the two photos face down. "This is the girl I had a crush on." "Crush?" Sophia looked at him in shock. Before Sophia could continue saying anything, Quentin had already pushed Sophia and her things out impatiently. Sophia stood in front of the elevator, looking at the tightly closed door of Quentin's home. Once again, feeling sad for the unfortunate woman who would be with Quentin in the future. Many times, Sophia would say to others very dashingly, "Why find a man? I think I'm fine alone. Finding a man now would just lower my quality of life." But the longer time passed, the more she felt lonely alone. Accumulating many words in life, couldn't tell parents, couldn't tell Rachel. Words she used to only tell Arthur, now could only be held in her heart. When having nightmares, waking up alone, hugging the pillow. Don't know why, vaguely felt such a self was somewhat pitiful. But she wouldn't tell anyone these words. She didn't want anyone to feel she was pitiful. Recently, there were many dinners at the station, often drinking with people until the clock turned at night. How could a normal woman live a life like hers? The two new interns occasionally blocked alcohol for her, but a woman without a man like her ultimately had no one to heartache for her. Those producers and bosses treated her like a man, unceremonious when urging to drink. In the magnificently decorated restaurant, Sophia had just experienced a round of gut-wrenching vomiting. She took a tissue to wipe her mouth, then stood under the vent. The wind blew on her face, and she finally sobered up a bit. Just that her whole person was still a bit dizzy, head a bit heavy. Very exhausted, supporting herself on the design-heavy textured wall, walking step by step toward the private room. Maybe it was a dream, but it seemed not. She walked very slowly. Looking up, a familiar figure appeared in her vision. Vaguely a tall and handsome shadow, wearing a fitting black suit. Hair cut short, temperament and overall feeling seemed to have changed a bit, yet still the person in memory. He walked in front of Sophia, his back still so distinctive. No wonder he attracted Sophia in her youth so easily. She followed behind that person until someone came out to look for him, shouting loudly, "Arthur, hurry up, sister-in-law is waiting for you to order." He laughed heartily, nodded, quickened his steps, turned, and walked into the corridor completely opposite to Sophia's private room. His figure disappeared from Sophia's eyes just like that. But don't know why, at that moment, Sophia suddenly felt aggrieved beyond control. The built-in speakers in the private room played low crooning music. It was a song Sophia loved extremely, Lonely Thoughts. Loving you is a lonely thought, don't understand the meaning of your smile, can only be like a sunflower, silently persisting in the night. Clang. Listening, Sophia couldn't help crying out. She felt her appearance like this was really shameful. She shouldn't be such a weak person. Clearly, she proposed the breakup. Don't know why seeing him again would still feel sad. Clearly despised him fiercely in front of Rachel before, right? But why still feel so aggrieved at this moment? The autumn rain of that year had passed after all, but didn't turn into sunshine, only becoming a shallow haze, so that Sophia couldn't walk out of that shadow for so many years. So hate is actually a stronger emotion than love, right? With drunkenness, Sophia pressed her head against the corner of the wall. She didn't want others to see her weak appearance. Sophia looked up at the ceiling, desperately trying to stop those falling teardrops, but they still flowed out along her eyelids. Hey! A familiar male voice sounded behind her. Sophia didn't want to turn her head. She didn't want to be seen at this moment. The visitor felt disrespected, grabbed Sophia's shoulder, and forcefully turned her around. Sophia, how did you become so unman? Before the word nearly could be spoken, Quentin had clearly seen Sophia's wretched appearance. The teasing expression on his face vanished instantly, brows furrowing slightly. Chief Sawyer, just then, because Sophia had been out too long, the intern came out looking for her. Sophia felt her brain a bit muddled. She really didn't know how to react to this situation. This wretched appearance actually had to be seen by so many people. She lowered her head, subconsciously wanting to escape, just as she hadn't thought of what expression to use to deal with all this. Her body was already encircled by a pair of long arms. Quentin hugged gently, enclosing Sophia entirely in his arms. In that second, time seemed to stagnate. All the noise of everything came to an abrupt halt. Quentin's chin was close to the top of Sophia's head, his methodical heartbeat pressed close to Sophia's ear. The pleasant voice sounded faintly. Your Chief Sawyer is a bit drunk. I'll take her back first, you bring her bag out. If this scene happened to someone else, it would surely cause quite some trouble. Only this person was Quentin, a celebrity in the mini-series Circle, with money and status. Normal people want to build relationships with him. Who would question him? Only the eyes looking at them became ambiguous unconsciously. The intern froze for a moment, quickly brought out Sophia's bag. Quentin held Sophia tightly, walking out so righteously. Sophia didn't know what was wrong either, feeling she couldn't exert any strength all over. She didn't want to push away the man beside her. At this moment, she seemed bewitched by this toxic-tongued man, unable to leave his nostalgic body temperature no matter what. This man's embrace seemed to be the safest haven in the world. She really couldn't bear to let go. Quentin drove steadily. Soft music played in the car compartment. The whole atmosphere was very peaceful and quiet. Neither spoke. Sophia just supported her chin with her hand, staring blankly at the scenery outside the window. When Quentin drove the car to Naples coast, Sophia had completely recovered. The two sat on the bench at the viewing platform. Quentin handed over a bottle of milk tea. Sophia took it silently and drank big gulps. Sophia looked at the lead gray sea horizon from afar, whimpering as she opened her mouth to ask, "Would you think I'm a very cowardly person?" Beside her ear was the sound of Quentin chuckling lightly. Of course. How could a person not cowardly cry bitterly against a wall? Being said so directly, Sophia felt somewhat annoyed unconsciously, turned her head and glared at Quentin. "If you tell others, I'll..." Quentin's expression was still that frivolous, but looking at such a face really wouldn't make people feel annoyed. He raised his eyebrows. "Relax, I have no interest in old women's gossip." Sophia wrinkled her nose, thinking of various things before, suddenly asked Quentin very seriously, "You only interact with young girls. Why only like young girls?" Hearing her say this, Quentin couldn't help laughing. "Can you stop describing me like a beast?" He turned his head, looking into the distance with a very complex look, saying, "I'm just very envious." "Envious of what?" "Envious of the youthful time they still possess, which I no longer have." Sophia thought for a while, frowned, and said, "If it's just time, young boys have it too." Quentin looked at Sophia with eyes looking at a psychopath, reached out his hand, bent his fingers, and said, "Really sorry, I'm not bent." Only then did Sophia realize how silly that sentence she said was. Quentin didn't seem to dislike her silly expression. He pursed his lips and said very emotionally, "When I was young, I was a bit different from ordinary people." He looked at Sophia very seriously, talking to her about matters concerning him for the first time. Senior year, when recommended for postgraduate studies, parents forced me to marry and have children. They were afraid if I got into postgraduate studies, I would leave my hometown to settle down and establish a career outside, so they tore up my postgraduate admission notice. He suddenly smiled. Don't know why, Sophia felt this smile wasn't pride, but regret. See, now I'm in the city, sitting here talking to you. Life is full of unexpected things like this. Sophia nodded. So breaking up is no big deal either. This day, the hit drama, But I Came When Spring Wasn't Sealed, she newly wrote went online on major platforms. The producer who tasted the sweetness insisted on treating Sophia to dinner and a massage. Sophia couldn't refuse, could only agree. After the massage at night, Sophia supported the boss back to the room, thinking of shooing him to sleep. She could get off work and go home. Unconsciously, her steps quickened a lot. Just walking to the room booked for him, Sophia let go of him, looking for the key in her bag. In just 2 seconds, he had already swayed elsewhere with a bit of tipsiness. Sophia hurried over, just seeing him pulling someone Sophia was very familiar with. Boss Rutherford, that person, shouted Quentin's name very excitedly. You're here too, he looked at the two meaningfully. The producer took the key from Sophia's hand and left very tactfully. Before leaving, he even smiled incomparably ambiguously at Sophia and Quentin. Watching him stumble downstairs, Sophia realized that only she and Quentin were left in the corridor. She finally felt the pressure. Instantly, her back heated up, scalp tingling in waves. She was just about to flee when the man who hadn't spoken behind her grabbed her arm effortlessly. Sophia wanted to break free, but Quentin grabbed tighter. The disparity in strength between men and women goes without saying. Quentin pulled gently and took Sophia into his arms. The two were extremely close, close enough for Sophia to smell the faint smell of alcohol on him. In this kind of place, naturally here for social engagements, just didn't know who was engaging whom. His cheeks were slightly hot, pressing against the hollow of Sophia's neck. Sophia only felt her body seemed paralyzed by this heat. She wanted to turn her head, but he was too close. If she just turned her head, she would kiss his Adam's apple. Let go of me, Quentin laughed, not letting go. Saying so, he suddenly exerted force and picked Sophia up. When Sophia came back to her senses, she had already been carried into his room by Quentin. She wanted to escape out. Quentin closed the door with sharp eyes and agile hands. He narrowed his eyes looking at her, that expression as if a leopard seeing prey, eyes full of danger. Be good, come here. Sophia wanted to leave, but just didn't take 2 steps before being hugged by Quentin. His strength was neither big nor small, having a man's unquestionable dominance, yet biased with a few points of tenderness people couldn't refuse. He carried Sophia horizontally and laid her down very gently on the wide bed. Sophia wanted to crawl up. He had already completely attached himself. His hands supported on both sides of Sophia, such a close distance, close to almost breathing each other's breath. Quentin didn't go straight to the theme, but played with Sophia's hair. That teasing posture was like a fire, completely igniting Sophia's face. Quentin lowered his head. A gentle kiss landed on the tip of Sophia's nose, carrying a scent of alcohol. Sophia felt she was also slightly drunk. Heard you are my girlfriend? The corner of Quentin's mouth carried a teasing smile. Sophia should have thought long ago. How could he not know? He was just waiting for the chance to deal with her altogether. She was a bit nervous. You. What do you want? Quentin answered righteously, sleeping with my own girlfriend. Saying so, his kiss had already fallen overwhelmingly. Compared to Quentin, Sophia was completely a vulnerable rookie. Sophia felt extremely hot, wanted to push him away, but seemed to lose strength all over, the whole person confused and infatuated. What do you want? At this moment, Sophia's weak resistance was more like a refusal that welcomes, rousing Quentin's lust. Her hands pressed against Quentin's chest, palms full of the touch of Quentin's firm chest, she murmured. You're drunk. Quentin rubbed her neck with his stubble, his voice full of seduction. Hands moving nonstop, unbuttoning Sophia's clothes. Giving you a chance to push me away. Sophia hesitated for a long time, but ultimately didn't push him away. She turned her head in shame. Seeing her like this, Quentin laughed, lowered his head, and kissed the corner of her mouth. Treating a woman full of schemes against me, this is absolutely the lightest punishment. Quentin's burning body pressed against Sophia. The distance was so close, Sophia's perspective was a bit out of focus. He asked her, "What kind of man do you want to find?" Sophia felt a momentary model flash before her eyes. She answered firmly, "A man who hands his life over to me." Quentin curled the corners of his mouth, thrusting at his waist, the two merging into one. He devoured Sophia's earlobe, saying by her ear, "Handing my life root over to you is about the same." Sophia was like a fish suddenly washed ashore from the deep sea. Above and below, her body seemed like ice and fire. She felt she seemed about to lack oxygen, could only hug the man before her tightly to survive briefly. This was an extremely chaotic night, so long. Sophia woke up following her biological clock in the morning. Her bones all over felt painful as if broken, especially her waist was unbearably sore. When she woke up, Quentin was still hugging her in sound sleep. The gentle sleeping eyes made Sophia's heartbeat accelerate unconsciously. Too strange, since knowing him, her principles had been broken again and again. Looking at the mess on the bed, shame finally surged up. Quickly pushed Quentin's hand away, crawled up from the bed, and dressed neatly, sneakingly, and very quickly. Holding her bag about to leave, thought about it, and turned back. This man was either a steamroller or a pile driver in his past life, too non-human. Sophia thought of her utterly defeated appearance last night as really shameful, thinking at least to win back around. This is an adult game, whoever takes it seriously loses. This game rule, even if Sophia is a rookie, she understands. Quentin woke up following his biological clock. Beside the pillow, there was no longer Sophia's residual warmth, only a faint fragrance remained in the crook of his arm. This woman's style of doing things is completely consistent with her person. Even in bed, she doesn't know how to yield, like an unyielding tumbler, rousing his desire to conquer. Recalling the intensity of last night, Quentin actually had a rare sense of excitement. He was just about to get up when out of the corner of his eye, he saw the only thing that woman left on the bedside table. The familiar coin 50 cents. He scooped up the coin casually, wondering with what expression that woman placed it here. Presumably arrogant and matter-of-fact. Quentin couldn't help laughing. Quentin dressed and washed up, only then noticing the time. It was already 10 o'clock. Took out his phone for a look, feeling today was overly quiet. Just thinking this, the system's default ringtone rang. A stranger's name appeared on the screen, Rachel Lane. Quentin frowned, not recalling who this person was either, just answered professionally. "Hello, this is Quentin Rutherford." Don't know what happened on the other end, there was no sound for a long time. Quentin looked doubtfully, the call wasn't hung up. "Hello?" Only this time was there sound on the other end, a woman asked timidly. "Excuse me, is this Sophia Sawyer's phone?" Quentin heard Sophia's name, only then realizing that woman might have taken the wrong phone. Can only blame the identical model, too high a collision rate, plus Quentin and Sophia had the same habits. No case, no stickers, screensaver and ringtone both the most primitive, this made it even more likely to take the wrong one. Quentin paused for 2 seconds, suddenly raised his eyebrows, said in a matter-of-fact tone. Sophia left too hurriedly in the morning, took the wrong phone. Rachel was so scared she shivered. "Number nothing, I'll call her home phone." Saying so, urgently hung up. Quentin pinched the phone, remembered something, and couldn't help laughing. On Sophia's end, although she left 50 cents arrogantly in the morning. But thinking back and forth, she still felt she lost a lot in momentum. Unconsciously, her palms were full of sweat. After breaking up, although she didn't voluntarily keep chaste, essentially, she was indeed a body long unused. Presumably, that calculating man must be laughing at her in his heart. Next time must not behave so cowardly, can't let him feel she has no experience. Next time? Sophia patted her own forehead. What is she thinking? She pulled the corner of her clothes, just preparing to enter the house. The phone rang. A call came in. She saw the name on the screen without paying special attention, answered directly. "Boss Rutherford, the product launch for, but I came when spring wasn't sealed, is scheduled for 7 p.m. tonight. You didn't forget, right?" Sophia's brain didn't turn around for a moment, asked subconsciously, "Are you drunk?" "I'm Chief Sawyer." The person on the other end heard Sophia's voice, froze for a moment, then said very calmly, "Hello, Miss Sawyer, I am Boss Rutherford's secretary. Could you trouble yourself to pass the phone to Boss Rutherford?" Sophia was confused. "This is my phone." Saying so, she held the phone far away to look, saw the name on it, secretary. You probably dialed wrong. What boss Rutherford are you looking for? I really. Like suddenly struck by lightning in her brain, the whole person sobered up. Boss Rutherford? You mean Quentin Rutherford? Sophia jumped in fright, quickly hung up the phone, went into various apps on the phone again. Finally realized she took the wrong phone. When she realized this problem, she also realized another problem. That is, Quentin's secretary seemed so accustomed to a woman answering Quentin's phone. Sure enough, a scumbag is a scumbag. Presumably, he has encountered this kind of thing many, many times. Sophia rushed back to the hotel panting, but unexpectedly Quentin had already left. She dialed her own number many times. Not until nearly 12 did Quentin answer the phone unhurriedly. Sophia struck first. What's with you taking someone's phone without returning it and just leaving? Quentin maintained his consistent, careless attitude. So took the wrong one. I thought you did it on purpose, wanting to see me one more time, so I thought of finding you again at night. Sophia was so angry at his boasting she spat blood. You are truly shameless. How can it be shameless? Quentin said seriously. I rely on my face to make money. Didn't I earn it last night? Quentin's he dragged particularly long, that tone called meaningful. Only then did Sophia understand what lifting a rock to drop on one's own foot meant. She swallowed a breath forcefully, asked directly, Where are you? Give my phone back. Naples Seafood Restaurant, come get it. Sophia was angry in her heart, but thinking Naples wasn't far from here, hailed a car and went. When Sophia arrived, Quentin was eating a seafood feast comfortably. Probably having instructions, as soon as she entered the shop, a smiling waiter led her into the private room where Quentin was. Sophia looked twice, felt a bit hungry, looking at the people by the table again. Besides Quentin, there were two middle-aged women. With outsiders present, Sophia was embarrassed to say anything, sat next to Quentin smiling, lowered her voice and said, Give my phone back, I'm leaving. Quentin seemed not to hear what Sophia said, intimately wrapped his hand around Sophia's waist. Sophia straightened her back abruptly like an electric shock, turned back and glared at him fiercely, signaling him to let go quickly. Unfortunately, this guy Quentin treated her completely as air and even said in a very intimate tone, Taste it, Director Chen's treat. The woman opposite laughed loudly. Sophia lowered her voice and asked again, not returning it. Quentin narrowed his eyes, smiling slightly, suddenly leaned over, biting Sophia's earlobe saying, If you can't sit still, you leave first. I'll find you at night. Quentin said again, don't know what happened. Sophia just felt his voice full of teasing, ears turned red instantly, silenced, picked up chopsticks, lowered her head and started eating lunch. Quentin chatted intermittently with the middle-aged woman opposite, while Sophia beside him was like released from a hunger dungeon, completely unladylike. In a while, she eliminated 70 to 80% of the food on the table. The woman opposite looking at her also felt a bit awkward, probably never seen such a character. Quentin kept smiling, finally cleared his throat and said, Director Chen's recommended restaurant just tastes good. Look at how you ate, making people laugh. Gotta say Quentin Rutherford, starved my woman. Saying so, picked up a tissue on the table, gently wiped the corner of Sophia's mouth. Sophia endured the nausea, corner of mouth twitching. Thanks to Director Chen for the hospitality. The cooperation you mentioned, let's talk next time we meet. Saying so, pulled Sophia to leave. Seeing Quentin get up to leave, the two women opposite changed faces immediately. Boss Rutherford, whether it works or not, at least give a definite word. Quentin squeezed Sophia's hand, consistently careless. I, Quentin Rutherford, have a principle in life. He paused, looking up again, eyes unconsciously had some cold intent. Don't talk about matters other than feelings in front of my own woman. Saying so, holding Sophia, walked away swaggering just like that. Getting into Quentin's car, Sophia pinched her phone, complaining incessantly. Really shameless, how can be so shameless using me as a shield, no wonder wanted me to go to Naples. Quentin drove the car, while waiting for the red light, turned back to glance at Sophia lightly. Aren't you my girlfriend? When did I become your girlfriend? Sophia was so angry she spat blood. This man really pushes his luck, really? Quentin smiled. I heard many people say your relationship with me is unusual, that's. Sophia wanted to argue, Thought Quentin's tricks were enough to circle the earth twice, so gave up. Lowered head to look at phone call logs, found several from the morning. Quickly called back one by one, the first one called Rachel. Call connected. The moment hearing Sophia's voice, Rachel exploded on the other end. Sophia Sawyer come out tonight to drink a break off friendship wine. Sophia held the phone far away, let her finish exploding before saying, "What's going on, Grandaunt? Who provoked you again? You and Quentin Rutherford hooked up. Why didn't you tell me? Do you know how much face I lost this morning?" Sophia frowned. "What hooked up sounds so ugly, just took the wrong phone." "So early? Tell me what you guys did last night to take the wrong phone." Sophia felt guilty, stuttered. "Drank together last night. Met." Rachel didn't believe. "HMPH think I'm a 3-year-old. Let me tell you, going home is when you're really done for." Quentin Rutherford even answered your mom's call this morning. Your mom was happy to death. Called me many times this morning, asking who Quentin Rutherford is. I think you shouldn't go home recently. Estimate your mom has prepared your wedding almost done. Sophia hung up urgently, asked the person beside her unbearably. Exactly how many calls of mine did you answer this morning? Quentin recalled seriously. 3 or 4, Sophia went crazy. Are you crazy? Receiving the first call knowing wrong, shouldn't have answered the later ones. Quentin completely ignored her hysteria, even said very seriously. I even replied to a text message. What text message? Didn't pay attention either, seemed to be returning money. I saw only 100,000, so replied no need to return. Sophia entered the inbox with trembling hands, saw a text from a friend asking for account number. Debt of 100,000 can be credited in the afternoon. Looking at the reply from this phone again, vividly and bloodily replied 4 words. No need to return. Sophia finally exploded unbearably. Surname Rutherford, this old lady fights you to the death, because this disaster. Quentin answered calls randomly, making Sophia have a home she couldn't return to now. Originally, parents were anxious to sweep her out of the door. Quentin answering that call made it clear, throwing living meat into a wolf den. To coax her to bring Quentin home, parents served good food every day. Once she went home, the 2 old fellows approached with thief light in their eyes. Sophia lived in such deep water and scorching fire for a few days, finally unbearable, didn't go to the company either, looked for a house first. Buying property isn't easy either. Looked back and forth at quite a few, just didn't fancy any. Led by the agent, Sophia tossed and turned, actually saw the community where Quentin lived. This community is famous in the city. It was the first house Quentin bought, stepping into the mini-series circle. Sophia looked at the community environment and was a bit moved, but thinking of living in the same community as Quentin, felt angry. Sitting in the sales center looking at floor plans, she saw the staff suddenly all stood up, flocking to the door. Sophia stretched her neck looking for a long time, finally saw a shadow of a suit in the cracks of the crowd. Suddenly had an ominous premonition. She took her bag, just preparing to get up. That person already called her. Sophia Sawyer. Sophia had a splitting headache, turned back after a long time, squeezed out a smile reluctantly. Hello, boss Rutherford. Quentin walked over, consistently shameless. Moving? Want to live closer to me? Sophia rolled her eyes. Don't think so much, okay? Quentin ignored her, naturally reached out to encircle her waist. I'll take you to look, see which one you like, I'll give you a discount. Sophia originally wanted to refuse, don't know what happened, mysteriously asked a sentence. According to the plot of domineering CEO falling in love with me, shouldn't you say, which one you like, I'll give it to you. Quentin looked down at her, corner of mouth carrying a teasing smile. Are you my little wife now? Sophia suddenly sobered up, spat at him fiercely. I spit, finally don't know how, brainwashed by his glib tongue, signed the house purchase contract muddle-headedly. When she remembered everything, Quentin had already very thoughtfully given her the key even. The agent who learned of this said to her happily, Miss Sawyer is really amazing. The large flat in this community is finely decorated, super expensive, actually got it so cheap, Sophia thought. What did I get? Clearly I was got weekend. Sophia went home a bit late. When Rachel sent her home, it was already 12 at night. Drank some wine, Sophia felt her head dizzy. Late night moon was lonely and cold, very suitable for a lonely person like her. Walking in high heels, somewhat unstable, floating as if walking in the sky. Not until a burst of cold wind at night, person sobered up a lot, only then suddenly discovered footsteps behind had been continuous. Dark night and high wind, dim street lights, couldn't help recalling those social news in mind. Sophia looked back vigilantly. Turned out those terrifying footsteps came from Quentin. Only then did Sophia relax, turned back ignoring him, walking on her own, facing him with an arrogant back of head. Went upstairs, into the elevator. Even when Sophia took the key to open the door, Quentin still followed behind her. This made Sophia finally have some impatience. "What are you following me for, pervert?" Quentin looked gentle. Seeing her angry, smiled slightly. Not angry at her rudeness either, just prepared, took keys from pocket and shook at her. "I didn't follow you. I'm going home." Sophia widened her eyes. "You're lying, you clearly don't live in this building. Last time clearly was the building in front. I kept 2 houses here, one in front and one here." Quentin smiled and touched the top of Sophia's head. "Good girl, I took you there once and you remembered." Only then did Sophia know she was played again, but on second thought, felt something wrong. "What do you mean?" Sophia frowned tightly, staring at him deadly. "You deliberately tricked me into buying the house opposite yours." Quentin walked toward her disapprovingly. Such a close distance, close enough to smell the alcohol on each other. Both people coming down from social drinking tables, this smell exciting and habitual. His low timbre echoed decadently in this empty corridor, full of provocation. "I just think this way, it's more convenient when wanting to see you." Consistently eloquent Sophia, after hearing this sentence suddenly lost words, said after a long time, "You fancy me, can't I?" Quentin looked unreservedly, narrowed eyes smiling, and said, "Recently want to study menopausal women." Sophia never won a verbal battle with this man. He is just such a toxic-tongued, belly-black man. Forget it, good woman doesn't fight with a crocodile. Sophia didn't bother saying more, shut up, opened the door and went home. Unexpectedly, just as she opened the door, a pair of man's hands pushed the door open so brazenly, then entered the room so shamelessly. Sophia stood in the entryway, hands on hips, accusing angrily, "Are you shameless? I didn't invite you in." Quentin looked relaxed. "As the developer, I just want to see how the house is done." Sophia glared angrily. "Done seeing, right? Get out after seeing." Quentin looked at Sophia, staring at her unblinkingly. 3 to 5 years shouldn't be enough to finish seeing. There was meaning in his words. Don't know what happened. Hearing him say this, Sophia's heart softened. Clearly wanted to drive him out. Momentum wasn't that strong anymore. "Hurry back to your home." Seeing him motionless on the sofa like in his own home, Sophia didn't bother with him either. Went straight to the bathroom. Tired all day, compared to arguing with Quentin, she preferred to shower and rest. When she came out after showering, seeing Quentin hadn't left yet, asked him casually, "Why haven't you gone home yet?" Quentin ignored her, only asked, "Not preparing to make some late-night snack. Drank wine all night, a bit hungry." Sophia rolled her eyes at him. "Am I your girlfriend or wife? Why should I serve you?" Thought Quentin would refute her, like usual, but unexpectedly he said nothing. Sophia looked back subconsciously, only seeing Quentin staring straight at her, eyes actually having a few points of sorrow. Quentin restrained emotions, face full of teasing. "That depends on whether you want to be my girlfriend or act as wife." Sophia ignored him, didn't respond, simply stopped talking, turned to pick up the hairdryer to dry hair. She was concentrating on drying. Suddenly a hot body pasted on her back. Quentin came over unknowingly when, just locked her tightly in his arms like this. Quentin's heartbeat was just pounding behind her back. Such a close distance, faint smell of alcohol, images of that previous night suddenly appeared in mind. Sophia's face turned red instantly. "What are you doing?" Quentin rubbed his chin on top of Sophia's head, answered faintly, "Don't know, just want to hug you." Before Sophia's complaint could be spoken, Quentin had already silenced with a kiss. He turned Sophia's body around. Sophia's hands pushed against his chest. He wore a white shirt and black suit. Buttons originally fastened tight were unbuttoned one by one unknowingly when Sophia didn't know what was wrong with herself either, actually not resisting. Quentin, not pushed away, suddenly lifted Sophia's waist. Sophia subconsciously wrapped her legs around Quentin's lean waist, revealing fair and slender legs. He walked up the steps in 2 steps, kicked open the master bedroom door accurately. When Sophia was laid on the bed, she finally realized. The reason Quentin knew the terrain so well was entirely because these were unit types invested and developed by him. Duped. Sophia was annoyed but couldn't help it, wanted to run, subdued by him lying on the bed in a while. When everything ended, Sophia rested on Quentin's arm, nose full of mint scent on Quentin. She felt this man's aggressiveness was too strong. In front of him, no matter what she did, she only ended up throwing away helmet and armor. Quentin just wanted to say something, glanced slightly, saw the lonely expression on Sophia's face. Don't know why, at that moment, his heart, which hadn't felt much for many years, suddenly beat fiercely, with points of slight pain. Is this feeling of heart palpitation love? What is love? Living 29 years, he actually didn't understand. Sophia actually didn't understand what she felt for Quentin either. She was afraid she would fall in love with him. This is an adult game. Falling in love means losing. She didn't want to lose again. Afterward, Sophia lay on the bed playing Escape the Manor boredly. Seeing her legs exposed, Quentin covered her with a blanket. Sophia looked back with a shallow smile in her eyes. At this moment, his face was very close to her. That was a distance both intimate and dangerous. Sophia was in a trance for a moment. Quentin, she called his name, suddenly asked very seriously, "How about we become a couple?" Quentin couldn't help laughing out loud. "Do you think we match?" Sophia's heart skipped a beat, restrained emotions, said calmly, "You indeed don't deserve me." Approaching 30, Sophia was no longer the little girl of the past, wouldn't chew on a man's words repeatedly, nor care about status. Only after leaving Arthur did she understand: dating, engagement, marriage, even laws cannot guarantee love. As long as one of the two changes, 10 horses can't pull back, let alone a status with no actual weight. She wouldn't be silly enough to ask Quentin what he considered her, just like she herself didn't understand what she considered Quentin. For the current Sophia, work and money brought her much more security than love. Sophia arrived home the next day, casually threw the laptop bag on the sofa, prepared to lie down in the room for a while. Just entered the room, saw that familiar figure sleeping on her bed. Sophia stopped steps, arms crossed over chest, tone cold and sharp. "How do you have the key to my home? As a developer, so casual to owner's home, is it appropriate? Are you trying to force me to sell the house?" Quentin didn't move. Silence confronted in the air. "Soph, come here." Knowing for so long, this was the first time he called her name seriously. Sophia didn't speak, held breath, walked over. Quentin sat on the edge of the bed, reached out and hooked Sophia's waist. She was pulled closer unconsciously. Quentin's face gently rubbed Sophia's neck, asked in low voice, "Angry?" Sophia pushed him away abruptly like an electric shock. She retreated 2 steps awkwardly, never daring to get closer to him again. He couldn't even be with her. They shouldn't have such a relationship. She shouldn't indulge herself so much. Don't meet any more in the future. Sophia tried hard to make her voice as heartless as possible. Her gaze fell on the dressing table, piled with disguise, tools Sophia used to arm herself. She was no longer young. Nasolabial folds appeared on her face. Those were traces that would panic her. Working 14 hours a day writing scripts, even forgetting to eat for work, but wouldn't forget to smear those expensive skincare products on her skin. She had passed the age of dying for love. Now she could lose career, lose lover, but couldn't lose self. A woman's heart and body are together. Dead silence in the room. Sophia leaned back against the wall, never looking at Quentin. "You go." Sophia waited for a long time, finally heard rustling sounds of Quentin getting up. "I didn't see wrong. You are indeed a smart woman. Knowing what words to say can make me retreat knowing difficulties." Quentin put away the arc of his mouth, tone cool and thin. "I fear most being loved by women because I can no longer love anyone." Watching Quentin's dashing departing back, Sophia felt a moment of loss. She wasn't as smart as he imagined. She just timidly and humbly spoke her heart. She was afraid of falling in love with him. He was afraid of being loved. How ridiculous. Seems this ambiguity only Sophia was lost alone. Turns out she wasn't that special to him either, just adults taking what they need physically. After that day, Sophia never met him again. This is also good. Neither would be awkward, also gave her enough time to create new scripts. For a week later, Sophia was busy with the promotion of the new script, 7 Years of Ashes. Haven't seen Quentin, this belly black man, for a long time. Honestly, from a woman's perspective, Sophia missed him a bit. but the resentment accumulated from new drama promotion recently filled her anger value. At this moment, Quentin appearing before her eyes wasn't a wise decision. At this moment, Sophia glared at Quentin without saying a word. Both stood at their own doors without moving, neither opening the door, as if competing with the other. Finally, Quentin broke the peace. He paced over slowly, naturally took her bag, raised hand to touch her hair strands. Sorry, Sophia glared at him, snatched back her bag angrily. Heard you have been stumbling my new drama promotion? Her tone was cold. Quentin looked at her composedly, eyes full of depth Sophia couldn't read. Sophia, I'm helping you. If I don't set limits for you, there will always be jealous people harming you, Sophia must admit. Quentin's answer indeed hit Sophia's heart. But she really hated this man's look of having everything under control. What to do? I don't want to forgive you. Sophia looked at Quentin, coldness rising in eyes. She said word by word, You hate women not obedient. I hate men self-righteous. Even though Sophia spoke with sarcasm, Quentin remained calm amidst changes. He looked down at Sophia, slowly approached, distance so close Sophia couldn't distinguish if this intoxicating alcohol smell came from him or her. His hand was just about to touch Sophia's cheek, was waved away rudely by her. Sophia raised hand to block Quentin with bag, person hadn't walked out of restraint, already grabbed whole into arms by Quentin. When Sophia reacted, she had been pushed into the corner, one of his feet pressed between Sophia's legs. Sophia shrank her body subconsciously, the whole person shrinking down. Quentin discovered her small movement, corner of mouth moved. He lowered his head, forehead pressing against Sophia's forehead. Breathing was full of bewitching alcohol smell. Quentin pinched the soft flesh at the waist, corner of mouth hooked a smirk. Lost weight. Sophia being restrained couldn't move, angry out of shame. Get out, facing Sophia's outburst, Quentin remained silent. When Sophia reacted, she had been carried horizontally by Quentin. Watching Quentin pick up effortlessly, Sophia couldn't help complaining in heart, knew earlier shouldn't control weight, shouldn't lose whatever fat, should let Quentin freaking can't even lift best. Quentin carried Sophia to the door. Sophia naturally knew what would happen next. Let go. Sophia grabbed Quentin's collar to prevent falling. Quentin smiled, ignored Sophia, took out the key himself. A string of metal collision sounds completely awakened Sophia. I already said, want you to let go. As soon as Sophia said this, bit fiercely on Quentin's neck holding him. This came unexpectedly. Quentin immediately put Sophia on the ground. Afraid Sophia would hit the wall, Quentin quickly supported Sophia's head with hand. His own back smashed onto the door handle, making a muffled sound. Sophia finally gained initiative, struggled down from Quentin, pushed him back an arm's distance before leaving. She raised chin slightly, used very disdainful tone, said to Quentin, The get out, I said, was letting you get back to your home. Sophia's wanton and flamboyant character really don't know how it was cultivated. Returning home, Quentin took a cold shower, only felt the gloom in chest gradually dissipate. Speaking of which, Quentin had seen her several times in the unseen world. Just too long ago, so didn't recognize immediately in the hotel. Later also remembered through her special name. At 18, first encounter in mid-September, Riverton drizzling autumn rain again. Quentin's shirt was soaked by rain, completely sticking to back. The whole person looked wretched. He spent 50 cents renting a book in a bookstore, sitting in the shop, surrounded by lively hyperactive students. Opposite the bookshelf sat a girl, reading Les Miserables while weeping silently. Crying pear blossoms bathed in rain, Quentin asked boss for a few tissues handed to her. After that time, as long as Quentin came to the bookstore, could see that girl. At 22. As a senior, Quentin was invited to participate in University Mystery Club activity. Looking up glimpsed the girl sitting in the old auditorium puffing cheeks, sitting in corner playing game, seemingly incompatible with the crowd. When team building dispersed, Quentin picked up Polaroid, secretly took a photo with girl's back. Later, when Quentin succeeded in career and wanted to muster courage to confess to the girl. Accidentally learned, the girl started a 7-year love marathon with the boy she crushed on for 3 years. In the eyes of boys of that session, Quentin became a famous big joke far and near, a coward missing love. Staying in Riverton actually was never a decision Quentin made himself, but because of Sophia. Thinking of this, Quentin couldn't help raising the corner of his mouth. Going downstairs to throw garbage at night, Arthur suddenly blocked in front of Sophia. 7 years after graduation, school wants to organize a reunion, Arthur said. Sophia was somewhat resistant. Need you to notify me of this kind of thing? Arthur smiled with light eyes. I organized it. Sophia knew Arthur's flame of wanting to eat grass back is vigorous now, not extinguishing early, more annoying places later. Sophia looked at time, said to Arthur, let's go out and talk. The two, one after another, just walked out of community, saw Quentin coming face to face. At this moment, 3 people met face to face, somewhat awkward. Quentin stood at a not far, not near distance, staring straight at Sophia, expression cold and stern. Sophia was somewhat surprised. Why are you here? Getting things. Oh, then I'm leaving first. Sophia didn't think too much either, just wanted to clarify quickly with Arthur, turned head tilted to Arthur. The two continued walking out. When Sophia walked past Quentin, Quentin grabbed Sophia's arm with one hand. Sophia turned back looking at him, expression somewhat puzzled. What is it? Where are you going? Sophia lowered voice. Have something to say with him. Quentin looked at time, eyes sank a few points again. Are you sure going at this hour? Maybe heart too frank, Sophia asked back. Any problem? Quentin glanced at Arthur waiting aside, looked at her again. Finally let go of her hand, said 3 words coldly. Suit yourself. Haven't come out with Arthur for many years, always felt every detail had a feeling of a lifetime ago. Arriving at the cafe, relying on memory, things Arthur ordered were all liked by Sophia. Just when waiter was about to place order, Sophia reached out to stop her. She looked at Arthur, that look separated by many years of changes, and love and hate difficult to disperse in memory. She didn't expect herself to have such a calm day. Once she thought except Arthur, she wouldn't love anyone else. I don't love these anymore. She didn't look at menu again, saying casually, a glass of water, thanks. After waiter left, Arthur didn't speak for a long time, just looked at Sophia somewhat hurt. These few months, your taste has changed a lot. 2 people relatively speechless. Half a sound later, he pursed lips, asking her eloquently, Sophia, do you believe in destiny? Sophia raised head, looked at Arthur helplessly, confirming her heart really wouldn't ripple because of him again, answered him slowly. Arthur, we already broke up, part on good terms, stop entangling unclear. Couldn't wait for water to table, Sophia had already stood up. At this moment, she just wanted to go back to sleep. Sophia, Arthur stood up wanting to pull her, avoided coldly by her. We broke up 8 months and 9 days, you have no boyfriend, didn't marry, this is the arrangement fate gave us, isn't it? Arthur's attitude incredibly resolute. I can divorce Jane for you, because I realized the person I love most is still you. Sophia glanced at him calmly. I must admit, after you left, I found myself. But at the same time, I no longer need you, Sophia paused, finally instructed. Don't come to my home anymore, small things like class reunion, just send address to my phone. Sophia, goodbye. Sophia walked very dashingly, without a trace of hesitation, didn't even look back once. Those were what she didn't care about anymore. Pain in youth finally became a scar, wound healed still left mark, but ultimately won't hurt. Have to say, finishing saying those words buried deep in heart, Sophia felt incredibly relaxed. Seemed to put down the load on back all along. Returning home, standing in elevator, looking at own shadow on mirror wall, Sophia suddenly had a moment of emotion. 2 more years to 30, Sophia sighed, deformed love tempered her into a better self. Reaching floor, just stepped into elevator, saw Quentin's figure. He wore home clothes, don't know if waiting at elevator entrance all along, or just preparing to go out. Sophia seeing he changed into home clothes, a bit astonished. Why staying here again? Wasn't it getting things? Quentin attitude indifferent, didn't answer either, turned into room, bang, shut door shaking sky loud. Sophia face baffled, how provoked boss Rutherford again? Sophia finished showering, originally prepared to sleep, result stomach a bit hungry, got up entered kitchen. Nothing at home, only a pack of pre-made chicken wings. Sophia never used air fryer, pondered half a day before roasting chicken wings. Sophia turned to blow dry hair, just blew less than 5 minutes, home suddenly blacked out. She was astonished endlessly. This house is luxury large flat, not university dorm, how come using a hairdryer tripped power? Turning on phone flashlight, researched at circuit switch for half a day. Finally had to give up figuring out herself, turned to ask help from man opposite. Knock, knock, knock. Knocked door somewhat apprehensively. Door opened, Quentin face full of impatience. Sophia realized Quentin mood bad tonight, heart muttering, could it be because she went out with Arthur? Something the matter? Quentin asked. My home seems to have tripped, I can't fix it, can you help me look? Quentin glanced at her coldly said. Call property management. Sophia, seeing he refused help, couldn't force either. All right then, disturbed. Turned about to close door walk toward elevator direction. Quentin waved big hand, pulled her into arms. He stared at her with cold face, that look, as if staring a hole out of her face. Sophia, shrinking body back against wall, asked him carefully. What? Quentin aggressively hugged Sophia's waist before she could react. Lowered head kissed fiercely, constantly licking and gnawing. Sophia glared deathly at Quentin, finally understood the source of his abnormality. She admitted she had feelings for this man in heart. But this feeling, not yet much enough to let him touch her past at will. This is the part she didn't want to narrate to people. Sophia bit lip tightly. Quentin, what standpoint are you angry from today? She forced Quentin to look at her, asked him word by word. Did you fall in love with me? Air seemed to have a string stretched very tight, couldn't withstand anyone's plucking anymore, break on touch. Sophia stared straight at Quentin, not letting Quentin have a shred of chance to escape. Quentin's eyes had a moment of panic. She was waiting for his response. Long time, he lowered eyes, answered timidly. You teach me how to love, I don't know how. Sophia pursed lips smiling, answered as if nothing happened. Okay. For the week after, Sophia worked overtime at company. Busy sleeping in company, whether intentional or unintentional, didn't give herself chance to meet Quentin after that. Wait until she felt recovered vitality, she could return calmly to that house opposite Quentin's home. Sophia thought of many scenes meeting Quentin again. Unexpectedly when she came out of elevator. Instantly, Sophia was pulled into arms by Quentin. She punched him hard, struggling to get out of his arms. Quentin didn't let go, just lowered head, watching Sophia twisting like loach in arms, face carrying few points of smile. What awkwardness is this making? Still angry for my words last time? Quentin, one hand hugging Sophia's waist, one hand patting Sophia's back, speaking in tone teasing child. Then want to break up with me. Quentin thought she was still angry for him saying, don't know how to love last time, she was too lazy to explain either. Trapped in his arms, couldn't move, looked at him not pleasing anywhere, especially his neck. Quentin better not mention last time, mentioning more angry, stood on tiptoe fiercely, mercilessly, bit on Quentin's neck. Quentin bitten, neither moved nor had expression of pain. Long time, he frowned. He lowered head, looked at her, smile quite thick. Sophia, you really hold grudges. Sophia glared at him. Dislike me, then you find someone else. Quentin smiled badly, big palm slid over Sophia's slender waist, landed on tight buttocks, pinched teasingly. No, I only want you, Sophia didn't want to admit. Quentin's casual sentence calmed her down. In bones still longed to be loved. She puffed chest, glanced at him disdainfully, turned head away. Liar, Quentin smiled faintly at her, didn't explain either. Embraced in arms by Quentin, Sophia felt every bone and body seemed softened. Whole person crisp, couldn't help leaning on him. Heart beat faster and faster because of his words. Sophia held breath, long time before calming herself down. Quentin's fierce kiss just landed on Sophia's lips, heard Sophia's stomach growling. Completely interrupted the ambiguous atmosphere of the two. Didn't eat? Quentin looked down at her. Sophia's face swelled red at this moment, complaining this stomach in heart, not calling earlier or later, biased to call when wiping gun going off. Really wished there was a hole to drill, lowered head stammering answer. Too busy, didn't have time. Quentin eyes and brows all unstoppable smile, he changed shoes quickly, took out a pair of new slippers from shoe cabinet threw in front of Sophia, then walked straight indoors. I'll see what's at home. Sophia left alone in entryway changing shoes, changing slippers slowly. A pair of tender white slippers, with a lace bow on top, her size. Sophia changed unwillingly, always felt Quentin did it on purpose, bought to humiliate the matter of her wearing lace-trimmed dress last time. Changed shoes, walked into living room, Quentin not there, now the only sound in whole home came from kitchen. Tiptoed close to kitchen, kitchen door not closed. Sophia leaned quietly on doorframe, watching Quentin's busy back inside. He tied a black-gray apron, posture cutting vegetables very neat, head lowered, expression very focused, every step orderly. In a while, Sophia smelled aroma of cooking in pot. Craving Sophia couldn't help swallowing saliva. Quentin cooking fast and charming, instead made Sophia this woman feel ashamed of inferiority. In a while, Quentin served decorated chili fried pork on table. He hooked finger signaling Sophia to sit over, then placed rice in front of her. Nothing much left, make do filling stomach. He untied the apron very incompatible with his domineering temperament, hung casually on chair back beside dining table. Eat quickly. He turned back, smiled badly at Sophia. I only like hearing your mouth scream, don't want to hear stomach screaming nonstop. Sophia picked up the rice Quentin handed her. Surprisingly, it suited Sophia's taste very well. In a while, a whole plate went into stomach. Full of food and drink, Sophia took tableware to wash, stopped by Quentin. I'll do it. Sophia was never good at housework consistently, didn't grab either. Watching Quentin washing kitchenware one by one there, usually straight back, slightly bent at this moment. That picture really too warm, making Sophia suddenly have a feeling of wanting to settle down. She crossed arms over chest, back against kitchen door, thought for a long time. Finally used very rational voice said to Quentin, You don't plan to marry me, right? Quentin stopped movement on hand, turned back looking at Sophia, brows slightly frowned. What meaning? I don't plan to marry either. Sophia pursed lips, sucked a breath, emboldened said, We have same idea, and I feel our personalities get along very well. Quentin rinsed the last plate casually, then stiffly inserted plate on drying rack. Then turned slowly, that gentle expression on face already converged, restored usual coldness. He leaned back against kitchen counter, deep eyes seemed to carry few points of anger. What do you want to say? Sophia glanced at Quentin. You know my emotional experience clearly. I'm afraid of getting hurt in relationships. Without enough love, I dare not start a new relationship easily. Finished speaking, Sophia fled straight back home, mood unable to calm for a long time. After that night, Quentin considered completely ignoring Sophia. Didn't return here for a month or half, occasionally returned once, basically turned a blind eye to Sophia. Initially, Sophia still heart clogged for a few days, later passed almost a month. Sophia finally freed from initial palpitation and loss. Yeah, twisted people need companion who can't be driven away, not momentary freshness. For next few days, Sophia had been busy writing scripts at company. Getting off work this day, Rachel, seeing she still wanted to overtime, teased, Chief saw you're enough money to spend is fine, don't consume body completely. Sophia smiled, shaking head. Money gives me security. Actually, sometimes I really don't quite understand what is security. Live with it, die without it? Rachel scratched head. I think most important in life is happiness. Sophia stopped typing hand, lay on desk, half a sound later slowly said, I sometimes envy you very much, envy your wanton indulgence. I can't do it, I'm too cowardly, always want to be loved, but I always can't get the love I want. So I can only rely on non-stop earning money to paralyze myself, because I'm afraid, one day I have no money, I really have nothing. Consistently eloquent Rachel was actually speechless by Sophia. Clearly wanted to speak, but found self actually somewhat nose sour. So many years, only God knows how they climbed up step by step from bottom. Rachel patted Sophia's shoulder lightly. Sophia took deep breath, asked Rachel confusedly. You say, to a man, what kind of woman can be different in his life? Rachel considered half a day, answered faintly. Be yourself, be the big heroine of your own life, love yourself first, then love others. Recently, company recruited a young returnee as screenwriter assistant qualification, 2 years younger than Sophia. Grew tall and handsome, could speak flowery rhetoric. Because screenwriter assistant is subordinate of Sophia's department, so this handsome guy followed Sophia most of time. At night, screenwriter assistant drove smoothly, sending Sophia home. Leaving, Sophia remembered a document at home, wanted him to bring to company, so brought him upstairs. This new screenwriter assistant very studious, many questions. Sophia felt cultivating down very promising, for his questions also generous, taught everything. 2 people entered elevator talking all the way. Foot stepped into elevator, Sophia saw Quentin standing in elevator, face comparable to Black Demon. Seeing Sophia not moving, screenwriter assistant looked at her somewhat surprised. "Chief Sawyer? Ah." Sophia realized her days somewhat rude, quickly stood in. 10 seconds elevator time, summarized is 2 words awkward. Sophia felt a line of sight beside making her back a bit cold. Hardly reached floor, Sophia quickly pushed screenwriter assistant out. Sophia didn't look back, opened door quickly, before screenwriter assistant entered. He was grabbed by Quentin. Quentin half a head taller than that screenwriter assistant, shoulders also much wider than him. Whole person size larger than him, standing in front of him, completely adult bullying child sense of sight. He attitude tough, "Where are you entering?" Screenwriter assistant looked at Sophia shrinking. "Chief, this." Sophia was angered by Quentin's baffling behavior, punched on Quentin's back. "What are you doing? Crazy, right?" Quentin's target finally shifted. He loosened hand disdainfully, threw skinny screenwriter assistant aside. "Surname Rutherford, do you have illness?" Sophia frustrated. Quentin voice cold and stern. "Sophia, I fear you forgot you are a woman." "How did I forget I am a woman?" Quentin smiled coldly, looked at screenwriter assistant sarcastically, eyes full of contempt. "Have needs, finding me might be more suitable." Only then she realized Quentin's meaning. He misunderstood this screenwriter assistant. Sophia expression somewhat cold, speaking tone cold and stern. "This is new screenwriter assistant of my company, coming to my home to get a document." Sophia looked up at Quentin, listened to Sophia's explanation. He didn't move, expression also had few points Sophia couldn't understand. This man still that look. But on second thought, he seems only different in front of her. Thinking this, dissatisfaction in bottom of heart even more. Sophia glanced at Quentin, tone calm and indifferent saying, "Proposal teaching you how to love last time, I regret now." Regret? These 2 words like pouring gasoline into raging fire. Quentin gritted teeth, word by word. "Sophia, you are amazing," saying so bang, closed door. Used to strange, Sophia took document to screenwriter assistant, then threw center back to work. Whole day nested in company. This day chief editor walked to Sophia, earnestly said, "Soph, I'm old time to find successor. Seeing college entrance exam hotspot soon, if your next script can reasonably use college entrance exam hotspot, create big hit drama with consumption reaching 40 million. Position of chief editor, I hand to you. Seeing college entrance exam only 1 week left." Sophia high intensity, typing 16 hours daily, in between only napped 2 hours in office when most tired. Nearing 12 o'clock, most people got to rest, company cubicle aisles full of sleeping people. Finally, heaven pays off, a week later. New script, vicious cousin went crazy after tearing her own file, with 43.1 million consumption amount, created annual single-day highest. Whole TV station people seeing this data, very happy. Watching daily recharge consumption jumping non-stop, Sophia felt solid and gratified in heart. Regardless how others evaluate her, she only does what she feels right. Last minute of daily list, presumably no big change. Sophia patted Rachel's shoulder, turned back to office. She just turned, heard Rachel's explosive exclamation. "Heavens changed," Sophia looked back surprised. In last few seconds before daily list ended, Sophia saw consumption amount changed from 43.1 million to 56.24 million in one fell swoop. Sophia frowned. "What happened? Who is brushing orders?" Rachel looked at numbers excited endlessly. "Not brushing orders, really big customer tipped recharge. Who?" People below clicked order, read aloud, more surprised reading. "Quentin Rutherford? 13.14 million. Quentin, what does he want?" Leaving office people chattering discussion, Sophia turned back to office. Pulled open blinds, looked up seeing dim sky, starry dots. Riverton already entered late night, without day's noise, heart added a piece. Dialed Quentin's phone, Sophia suppressed delicate mood both expectant and apprehensive in bottom of heart, asked straight to point. "You," Quentin probably guessed Sophia would call, composed. "Acquaintance, help you once, send you to top of list. What does this number mean?" 1314 this number, who wouldn't fantasize? Sophia's hand twisted corner of clothes tightly, she had to admit. At this moment she was somewhat nervous, mouth pretending not to care probing. "What, you want to pursue me?" Quentin smiling, tone gentle. "Yes." Sophia felt Quentin is a person not playing by cards. She often felt at a loss to his various offensives, yet secretly expectant. "Like you 29-year-old old man, want to pursue me? Perform well," thought with Quentin's arrogant and mean character should refute her, who knew he only answered one word. He said, "Okay." Sophia felt that moment seemed a cluster of fireworks, bang, exploded in her heart. Also seemed a tree withered for long half dead, suddenly encountering heaven falling sweet rain. In a while, story of 13.14 million tip was compiled into many versions spread out. News of business crocodile Quentin throwing 1,000 gold to pursue Sophia spread completely in circle. To this, two parties involved seemed no special changes. Probably too busy to no time meeting. Sophia suddenly understood why parents always didn't hope she was too strong. From Chinese traditional concept, she like this, maybe not suitable for marriage at all. Which man can stand his wife 365 days a year, 364 days overtime? Especially man like Quentin, virtuous wife and good mother, these 4 words really far from Sophia. Weekend, free Quentin called Sophia to meet again. He seemed to want to confirm, pursuit, rumors. Although Sophia didn't need overtime today, she was really too tired this week, didn't agree. Returning home, Sophia felt always tight nerves finally relaxed. Clearly didn't eat all day, but no hunger. Too lazy to wash face, too lazy to change clothes, Sophia lay directly on sofa, fell asleep in a while. Didn't remember how long slept, probably sleeping posture wrong, whole right side body a bit numb. Didn't know what time it was. Sophia was awakened by strange aroma at home. Hazy opening eyes, stepping slippers groping to kitchen, in front was Quentin's familiar back. Didn't know when he came, nor why came to her home to cook. Just for a moment or half, she felt Quentin's broad back seemed to have magic. She stared blankly for a long time, 2 arms, crossed owner's consciousness, already instinctively went up to hug Quentin's waist. Her cheek pressed tightly against Quentin's back, she even felt Quentin's back slightly stiff because of her approach. Quentin's hand touched back of Sophia's hand, tone gentle. "Woke up. Are you Mr. Snail?" Sophia asked childishly. Quentin turned around, face to face with Sophia. He raised hand tidied Sophia's somewhat messy forehead hair. "You seem quite busy this week. No time to eat?" Sophia nodded tiredly. "Writing scripts, running promotion." Quentin looked down at Sophia, said triumphantly, "Am I much better than your ex-boyfriend who can't make it to the stage?" Sophia didn't want to discuss Arthur with Quentin, mouth carelessly said, "Our boss Rutherford is most amazing." Sophia's finger pad touched Quentin's firm chest, just about to move down, caught by Quentin. His eyes deep, inside all emotions Sophia couldn't read. He looked at Sophia meaningfully. "Eat first." Saying so, turned to get dishes, serving onto table plate by plate. Sophia followed behind him, felt this atmosphere somewhat subtle, Quentin this old man, turning face simply faster than turning book. After meal, Sophia took clothes to shower. When coming out, Quentin cleaned table already. Sophia then lay on bed boredly reading script she wrote. When Quentin got on bed, a stream of cold air entered quilt. Sophia shrank body subconsciously, then pulled by Quentin on waist, hugged into arms from behind. Also didn't know started from which day, Sophia felt 2 people seemed inexplicably entered a state of old husband and wife. And she whether thought or body, seemed very used to. Sophia's back pressed against Quentin's chest, she could feel Quentin's chin just on top of her head. "Free up time end of month." Quentin low voice sounded. Sophia put down phone surprised. "Something matter?" Quentin answered extremely matter-of-factly. "Go to Maldives for vacation." "You want to take me traveling?" "Can't I?" Sophia, somewhat astonished, turned over, facing Quentin. She blinked eyes to confirm hearing correctly. "Are we 2 already degree of traveling together?" Quentin, breathing gradually slowed down, looked down at Sophia, eyes showing dangerous look. He asked Sophia slightly ironically, "Then what degree do you think we are?" Sophia, seeing Quentin trend of anger, quickly explained. "I didn't mean this, but I really have no time end of month. I still have a script not written. You also know I am career strong woman. Go travel." Quentin tone unquestionable. "Script can write any time." "That's different," Sophia saying. Quentin frowned impatiently. Pressed Sophia into arms, unwilling to say more. Responding to her, only simple and crude 2 words. "Sleep." Next morning when breakfast ready, Quentin sat by bed. Food ready, let's eat some breakfast, okay? Sophia, looking at Quentin's tender gaze, nodded, muffling sound. On dining table, Quentin clipped beef and chicken wings into bowl, then passed to Sophia. Sophia looked at him surprised, then said, "Thanks." Next second, Quentin picked up tissue, extended long arm, wiped clean soup juice at corner of Sophia's mouth. Mouth smiled. "Can I call you Soph?" Sophia, instantly cheeks crimson, how this belly-black man suddenly changed appearance. She lowered head, eating beef in bowl, stopped talking. At this time, Quentin took out a slightly rough emerald jade bracelet from chest. He scratched head, cheeks flushed red. "Soph, this is jade bracelet I polished myself, maybe production not too meticulous, but I—" Sophia quickly interrupted his words, pupils shrunk, suddenly looked up. "Quentin, you this?" She quickly pushed jade bracelet back to front of Quentin, like hot potato. "This, I can't take." Rejected Quentin, not feeling surprised at all. "Before I didn't recognize my heart, now I just want to tell you. I like you, I want marriage as goal, want you to be my wife, want to take care of your remaining life. Sophia, do you want to try with me?" Bowl edge still residual heat, at this time surrounding silence. Sophia observed expression on his face, rejecting words actually couldn't say out. Quentin, although no expression on face, but heart tightly clutched together. He watched Sophia, no response for long time, lowered head lost. Sophia watching Quentin, lowered head lonely, bottom of heart surged bursts of unbearable. What principle, what not moved, all count for nothing. Even impulsive once more, what does it count? Thinking here, Sophia extended left hand, stammering open mouth. "Put on for me." Hearing this, Quentin revealed joyful smile, carefully put on jade bracelet for Sophia. Sophia, watching this scene before eyes, couldn't help teasing him. "Quentin, haven't you confessed to anyone?" "I only confess to you alone." Sophia, watching Quentin clumsy appearance, corner of mouth hooked a smile, but to cover blushing. She clipped a piece of beef into mouth. At this time, Quentin stood up, walked to piano at center of restaurant. He sat down dashingly, slender fingertips danced on keys. A song, Naples Coastline, turned into beautiful notes, floated into Sophia's ears. Haze in Sophia's heart instantly dispelled. She liked getting along with Quentin because feeling very cozy, comfortable. After meal, two people walked side by side to Naples Bay. Occasionally, two people's back of hands pressed together, but quickly dodged each other. Feeling of heartbeat rose rapidly. Sophia secretly looked up at Quentin's side face, found his expression indifferent, ear tips red through half sky. She couldn't help laughing out voice. Turns out not only she nervous alone, Quentin heard laughter, whole body stiff, turned head to look at her. Sophia generously held his hand, smiled bright eyes at him. "Quentin, look at you nervous, aren't we together?" He heard, corner of mouth hooked a smile, leaned down constantly close to Sophia. Sophia, feeling his breath, let Quentin lick her earlobe. Shy numbness instantly spread whole body. Her slender arms involuntarily climbed his sturdy waist. Quentin immediately gently held her lips, finally turning, lingering on her lips. Naples' seawater at this moment seemed to become quiet, harmonious. Quentin's eyes only her passion, her softness, her sweetness. Not far away, someone secretly photographed this scene early next morning. Major media news all reporting gossip of Quentin high-profile show of love. Just out of elevator, Sophia saw a familiar figure by elevator wall. Sophia, eyes stunned, slightly narrowed phoenix eyes. Why Arthur again, really ghost not dispersing. Sophia just about to enter elevator, Arthur used slender fingertips pressed elevator control panel. Sophia, helpless, had to stop, looked up staring at Arthur's scarlet eyes. He looked eyes full of decadence. Arthur looking at rosy face Sophia in front, heart mixed flavors. Leaving him, Sophia seemed to live better day by day. "You and Quentin really together?" Sophia didn't want to tangle with him, said directly. "Yes, you finished asking, can go." Arthur Adams' apple rolled, eyes like falcon locked her. "I still same words, as long as you willing to return, I." Sophia only felt absurd, ridiculous, immediately interrupted his words. "Trouble lawyer Chase look up to me, but I never want to hear these words again." Full of sarcastic tone, stabbed Arthur face black then red, red then black. Arthur looking at her, eyes deep, face full of unwilling. "Your sincerity, as long as it's a man can deliver. Even not Quentin, one day there will be other men standing beside her." He just thought of this scene, heart painful, suffocating. He thought, unknowingly, Sophia became increasingly important to him. Heard, Sophia's eyes sank. She looked at Arthur, word by word. Arthur, I want 7 years sincerity to you, but what did you give me? You gave me repeated humiliation, betrayal. So, why rely on expect I will turn back? Looking at Sophia's red eyes, Arthur's heart shaken greatly. Half a sound, he asked blankly, Rid of me, you so happy? Sophia unhesitatingly. Of course. Short 2 words like sharp needles fiercely stabbed into Arthur's heart, making him painful and lost. Sophia took deep breath, withdrew hand about to go. Walked 2 steps, she stopped again, turned around. Looking at Arthur, asked the question wanted to know most but failed to ask. Arthur, why did you betray me back then, illicit with Jane? Arthur stunned. 7 years ago, Arthur first arrived at law firm, crowded out by everyone. It was Jane funded and appeared to help turn around, only then had today's lawyer chase. His words surface seemed explaining, actually debating why cheated. Sophia listening, originally indifferent voice unknown when became hoarse. So that's it. That entangling unwilling and pain and last bit of love, all washed clean by this sentence. Sophia face expressionless said, 7 years ago, if not me exhausting all resources around, secretly helping you, you think just by Jane empty words could let you resurrect in company. Sophia finished speaking, never looked at him again, turned into elevator. Arthur heard, huge panic and unease clutched his heart. No, not like this. Arthur didn't know how he returned to West Villa. At this time, Jane wearing apron, messing with food in kitchen. Hearing noise of entryway opening, Jane hugged Arthur's waist diligently. Artie, I made your favorite 4 brocade meatballs today. Arthur lowered eyes, looking at her face dark unknown. He didn't point out, could only build layers of fortress in heart. Jane sensed a trace of difference, looked up from Arthur's arms at him. Artie, what's wrong? Arthur met her gentle water eyes, actually felt somewhat scary. He pushed her away calmly. Nothing. Arthur didn't give a single explanation, turned and left, carrying a meaning of fleeing in defeat. Other side. Sophia covered with thin blanket, leaning on sofa lost in thought. She thought she would never be sad for Arthur again, but didn't expect truth of Arthur hurting her. Actually so ridiculous extreme night charm club. Top private room, Arthur down and out alone sitting in corner drinking depressive wine nonstop. Dim light lined his face somewhat gloomy. At this time, Arthur's good brother Harry pushed open private room door. Harry glimpsed Arthur sitting in corner, strode toward him. After sitting, Harry face full of worry, tone anxious asked, What's wrong with you, running alone to drink depressive wine? Arthur fierce poured mouthful of wine, closed eyes painfully, murmured, I don't know what to do. Brother Artie, what exactly happened? Harry, seeing him lost soul, realized seriousness of matter, sat opposite him drinking. Arthur clenched wine glass in hand. These 7 years I recognized wrong savior all along, what should I do? Harry confused. What wrong savior? What exactly are you saying? But Arthur spoke no more, continued drinking depressive wine. Mouthful after mouthful, I seeing about to drunk. Harry couldn't watch, snatched his bottle. What's good to drink wine, new girls recently not bad, introduce one to you. Jiggy, come here. Voice fell, waved let not far away a girl wearing white dress, look seemed few points cold over. In Harry's view, nothing a woman can't solve, if not then 2. Accompany lawyer Chase well. Called Jiggy girl walked to front of Arthur, tucked a strand of hair at temple behind ear, shyly opened mouth. Hello lawyer Chase, I am Jiggy. Arthur looked up, in confusion, looking at woman in front seemed seeing Sophia of 7 years ago rainy night. Until she sat beside him, a familiar gardenia fragrance passed into his nose. Jiggy, which gie? Jiggy answered shyly, Jiggy like twigs jai. Jai Sophia, Arthur murmured this word. Jiggy heard somewhat unclear, only heard the back jai word. Just hearing this man use low magnetic voice, murmuring her name, she felt heart beating bang bang. Harry aside seeing this, quickly waved let Jiggy take Arthur away. He said, no man will give up a forest for a green leaf. Jiggy quickly followed suit, supported Arthur, tone hiding no excitement. Lawyer Chase, I send you to rest. At this time, Jiggy close to Arthur, a pungent perfume smell passed into Arthur's nose. He sobered instantly, fiercely pushed away woman supporting him vigorously. Get lost? Arthur staggered standing in place, opened eyes, saw clearly this Jiggy in front. Even if looks few points similar, name few points similar, but you ultimately just a fake. Here, Quentin carried Sophia on back to see View House by Naples. He rubbed Sophia's forehead with nose tip, said softly, "This Sea View Villa area, I bought all, written is your name." Sophia buried face in Quentin's spine, shy endlessly, ambiguous atmosphere at this time roasted to extreme. At this time, ding sound, email sound rang. Wait a moment. Rachel sent email. Quentin knew she was workaholic, helpless, said, "Room has computer, go, call you when food ready." Sophia then trotted to room to handle work. Email Rachel sent was casting info for new drama male lead. Sophia, holding laptop, crossed legs, sitting on cashmere carpet at bed end, started work. Don't know how long passed, outside sun piece of golden yellow, afterglow pierced window. Sophia reading info entranced, didn't notice door pushed open at all. Quentin walked in from outside. Until laptop screen reflected Quentin's cold face. She came back to senses, stretched waist, smiled bright eyes at him, finally about to finish. But didn't expect Quentin opened mouth coldly. "What are you looking at?" Quentin's eyes, staring straight at computer screen. Next second, Sophia accidentally touched mouse. A 20-something boy voice came from screen. "Sister, I like you," instantly, room shrouded by low pressure, Sophia somewhat scared. "What happened?" Sophia, seeing him never speaking, got up, poked his cheek. Quentin immediately grabbed her slender wrist, pulled her to bed, leaned over kissing. "Who is this little boy?" "MPH. Sophia wanted to explain, but her lips were forcibly blocked, unable to say a single word. This kiss was aggressive, feeling different from the previous forceful and swift kisses. Sophia couldn't handle it a bit, until she felt a pair of hot palms lifting her skirt up along her thighs. A man's palms are not as delicate as a woman's. The rough calluses on his palms rubbed against her skin, giving her goosebumps. At this moment, Sophia pushed Quentin's shoulder. Only then did Quentin stop, pecking lightly twice at the corner of her lips, looking down at her, eyes dark and hoarse. "You are my girlfriend, I am exercising normal rights." Sophia's heart beat very fast. "Are you jealous?" "Jealous?" Quentin's voice was low, gaze locked deeply on her, low voice carrying a hint of sexiness. "Is this being jealous?" Sophia curled the corners of her mouth into a smile. "Then, why did you lose control just now? Wasn't it because of the little brother in my computer? What is he to you? If you admit you're jealous, I'll tell you," Sophia said boldly. Quentin's gaze deepened even more. His big palm clasped her two wrists, raising them high above her head. Pressing her whole body against the bed, he whispered a sentence in her ear. "I am jealous." Instantly, Sophia's cheeks flushed rapidly, as if her heart was about to jump out. She spoke shyly. "He is one of the candidates for the male lead in my next drama at the station." That sentence just now was just imitating lines in the drama. Moreover, he's nowhere near as charming as Boss Rutherford. While speaking, Sophia saw Quentin's Adam's apple moving up and down. Suddenly, her ears were red enough to drip blood. The two maintained the previous ambiguous posture, extremely close. The breaths they exhaled intertwined, the ambiguous atmosphere spreading continuously. After a long time, Quentin gazed affectionately at Sophia, his voice hoarse. "Soph, let's get married," Sophia nodded muffledly. "Okay." First, the two announced the wedding date on social platforms, which was in a month. This matter quickly exploded on the internet. "Boss Rutherford is getting married. The bride is actually chief editor Sawyer. The two of them are truly a powerful alliance." Everyone look at Boss Rutherford's eyes looking at chief editor Sawyer, full of love. "Wow, truly too sweet. Mom, I believe in love again. Family, let's send blessings." 1. Arthur learned this good news online. Every day could only drown sorrows in wine. A month later, a wedding of the century was held. The wedding Quentin prepared for Sophia took a full 7 years of preparation. Only the heroine didn't know. Wedding venue, souvenirs, wedding dress, diamond ring, all were the most international and top class. At the wedding scene, Arthur hid in the corner, not daring to show his face. He didn't dare to approach her, could only look at her from afar, gaze following Sophia's figure. The moment he saw her putting on the wedding dress, he seemed to lose all strength. She was getting married and looked very happy. On stage, holding the microphone, Sophia said with a face full of happiness, "Meeting Quentin Rutherford used up all the luck remaining in my life. I love him." Arthur spent $7 million just to buy someone else's invitation to Sophia's wedding. He stared blankly at her in the dazzling wedding dress, eyes full of loneliness. How good would it be if he could be given another chance? At this time, the MC on stage asked routinely, "Does anyone object to this marriage?" Arthur immediately stood up and shouted loudly, "I object." Everyone's eyes fell on him. Ignoring everyone's gaze, Arthur walked toward the ceremonial stage with a dark face. Everyone was whispering, "This person seems to be Riverton's top lawyer, chief editor Sawyer's ex-boyfriend. He has such guts, actually daring to crash Boss Rutherford's wedding, doesn't check his own status." These words fell word for word into Arthur's ears. He was unusually sober at this moment. Sophia's words kept looping in his mind. She said meeting Quentin used up all the remaining luck in her life. She loves him. What about himself? Crushing on him for 3 years, love marathon for 7 years, was it just that hard to mention? Thinking of this, Arthur suddenly stopped his steps, looked up, meeting Sophia's puzzled eyes. To save the scene, Quentin held the microphone and asked him with a face full of impatience, "Arthur, do you have something to say?" Arthur looked at Sophia, opened his mouth full of bitterness. "Congratulations to you, achieving positive results. I wish you happiness." Turns out saying this blessing is really hard, very hard. So hard that he has no reason to see her again in this life. After speaking, Arthur turned and left the ceremonial stage. Quentin's voice came continuously from behind. "Thank you all very much for attending our wedding banquet. I often think, how should I thank Soph for becoming my lover? I have too many wishes. The greediest one is wanting to put you into my future. Today, I want to hold your hand, toast guests from all directions. In the future, I will always love you in ordinary days. Meeting Sophia is the greatest happiness of my life." What Quentin said later, Arthur gradually couldn't hear clearly, only could hear everyone's applause and continuous blessings. Behind Arthur, Quentin and Sophia put rings on each other and kissed. Quentin looked at the woman's beautiful cheek, his dark eyes full of depth. He couldn't help feeling a bit jealous of Arthur, being able to see her most flourishing 10 years. But actually, there was nothing to be jealous of. Starting today, Sophia is his legally recognized wife. In this life, they will be happily together forever. What he possesses is the rest of her life. 3 hours later, the wedding ended. The two came out of the Civil Affairs Bureau holding bright red books. Sophia could no longer suppress the excitement in her heart, stood on tiptoe and hugged Quentin's neck tightly. Her eyes glowed with heat. "Ah, feels like a dream. Quentin, we really got the certificate and married." Her voice couldn't stop trembling. This day suddenly arrived. She got married. This feeling was just like dreaming. Quentin hugged Sophia's slender waist, chin resting on her shoulder, sniffing her fragrance, chuckled lightly. "Now you aren't an old woman, you are my proper wife." Sophia responded. Quentin raised his eyes, suddenly called her wife, his deep double eyes full of deep affection, eyes full of her. Sophia's heart trembled, eyes contained moisture, trying hard not to let it fall. Sniffed nose, She also smiled, calling him hubby. Quentin's heart warmed. Here. At this moment, the two were the happiest people in the world. 5:20 p.m. Punctually on time, Rutherford Group's official public account High Profile released a picture and a rain of red envelopes worth $13.14 million. The photo was impressively the marriage certificate of Quentin and Sophia. The man and woman on the certificate were simply a talented man and a beautiful woman. The caption was a long string of congratulatory text. Just after the public account posted, in less than 10 minutes, the comment section was directly overrun by fans of Sophia and Quentin. "Ah, congrats, Chief Editor Sawyer and Boss Rutherford, happy enemies. Tying the knot, happiness locked dead 99,999,999. Happy marriage, have a precious son soon." Less than half an hour, climbed straight to #1 on the trending list. The heat only rose, didn't drop. When Sophia saw the trending search, it was already evening. After getting the certificate, she went home with Quentin. Got up too early, she was still sleepy, planning to go home to catch up on sleep. But Quentin was like pumped with chicken blood, saying whatever wouldn't let her sleep. Insisted today was their first day of getting the certificate, also the wedding night. Then those hands started to be restless. He knew all of Sophia's soft spots. Sophia simply had no resistance at all. So the two stumbled around upstairs all day. Didn't even go downstairs. Bedroom, study, even the balcony with drawn curtains. Sophia simply couldn't bear to look. Finally, like a puddle of mud on the ground, she was carried to the bathroom by Quentin to clean up. At this time, 9:30 p.m. Sophia nested lazily in Quentin's arms, just turned on the phone, saw private messages exploded. She raised eyebrows, scanned private messages, all wishing her happy marriage. She crossed arms over chest, face wearing smile. Did you have someone release the news? Sophia raised eyebrows, looking at the man, closing eyes, feigning sleep in front, uncontrollably happy. Many people are wishing me happy marriage. WeChat work groups also exploded. Sophia scrolled phone page, all red dots. As long as they knew her, almost all sent her WeChat. From getting the certificate until now, only those few people knew. Having such big influence except him, Sophia really couldn't think of a second person. Quentin didn't even lift eyelids, lazy as if boneless, hand around woman's waist tightened a bit. Jaw pressing on her snow-white jade-like shoulder, said slowly, Now the whole country knows you, Sophia, are Quentin's wife. See who else blind dares to covet you in the future. Quentin's tone was very plain, but words were filled with thunderous momentum, domineering simply out of shape. But biasedly, Sophia just loved his possessiveness to death, replying to Rachel and others' blessings in hand, small face, smiling, giggling. Boss Rutherford, you are so domineering. Voice fell, shoulder suddenly bitten not lightly or heavily by man as if flirting. Yeah, Sophia shouted, staring. What are you doing? She reached out to push him away, but Quentin held her small hand, turned over aggressively. Call hubby, then conveniently threw the phone in her hand aside. Four eyes met, Sophia instantly drowned in the man's dark, deep eyes, breathing suddenly paused a few times. Two people's current state, her ear roots red out of shape. Still have energy to reply to others' text messages, Quentin pinched her chin, looking at the girl's palm-sized, pure small face. Lowered head close to her lips, seducing tone. Mrs. Rutherford? Nose tip was man's warm, almost scalding breath. Sophia was instantly infected by this ambiguous atmosphere. No, she had to be rational. Quentin, are you done or not? Sophia gritted teeth. I'm still sore all over now. You want to tire me to death on this bed, right? Looking at her small face, puffing appearance, simply cute beyond measure. Quentin laughed until shoulders trembled, finger pad pinching her cheek. Tiring you to death on this bed, wouldn't it be letting this bed off easy? Besides, how could I bear to? I want to uphold my wife as the most amazing screenwriter in the world. Hey, stop, Sophia pressed hand against Quentin's mouth. I want to be the big heroine of my own life, not a daughter flower relying on men. Quentin's voice was hoarse, carrying thick lust. Okay, then you are my little sweetheart, little baby.